Yes, yes, yes. It is the Castworthy podcast, and we are back. I'm Big Steve, aka Last of a Dying Breed, on the Twitter machine, joined by the VP of Research and EJ the Savage today. Um, it's been a while since we put of research at the end of VP, but you've been kind of doing a little bit here and there, so
Been in the lab. I've been in the lab.
you get a little bit of credit here.
Negative.
It's Sunday, December 4th. It's a beautiful day outside. Uh, things can't be better in the world, right? I guess they could be, but gas prices are low at Costco and Sam's Club.
Look at Joe.
Black people could get reparations though.
Well, gas prices are still high everywhere else, so I wouldn't give Joe the credit, but shout out to the CEOs of Sam's Club and Costco for keeping the gas prices low in their locations and not price gouging.
Yeah, they probably feel they got you on the back end already for that membership.
That's true. That's true. You gotta pay. Listen, you gotta pay to play sometime.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what a wise lady told me once upon a time.
Mhm.
Speaking of wise ladies, let's talk about some stick men in this world. Pete Davidson is back on the on the prowl. We saw him courtside at a Knicks game this week with a supermodel. I don't think there's any any rumors of them dating as yet. But you know, we know how that starts. We know how things go.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the dudes, hey,
I'm starting to think Pete Davidson don't got no he don't have any self-esteem, or I don't think he's like suicidal, or I don't think he has any issues. I think he just does that and then he comes out and gets the simp puss.
Wow.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but
wow. Wow.
I part of it I think with Steve David, like, or I was about to say
Steve Davidson.
That's right. That's right. Stick men alike.
With Pete Davidson, man, I think you said this when we talked the last time we talked about him a while ago. Yeah, the dude's funny, you know what I mean, and so I'm pretty sure the chicks love a laugh. You know what I mean? That's one. But two, when you look at Pete Davidson, he's not like some great looking dude. You know what I'm saying?
He's hideous.
But,
he's hideous.
But at the same time, he's probably just like, yo, I am who I am. I'm gonna shoot and we'll see what happens. I'm either gonna hit or miss. You know what I'm saying? And so, you shoot and let the chips fall where they may.
Well, now it's gonna be easy because after you have Kim Kardashian, what woman that idolizes her won't want you?
And not just that though, EJ. Like also, right? Like, you know how you in the mall and you're like, damn, how the hell he got her? But now he's kind of consistently had a string of them. You know what I mean? And so maybe when he shoot the shot, these supermodel chicks are like, I mean, he ain't much to look at, but I mean, Ariana was with him, Kim was with him, so and so. I mean, let me see what it's all about. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And Kanye didn't do him any favors talking about,
right.
He got that thanging.
My wife put a white boy with a 10-inch penis.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So
not
maybe
not to mention he has money.
That's true too, right? So that's
I mean, they got money too,
but they got money too.
It's not like they're broke.
The supermodels.
He's not smashing broke.
Kim, Ariana, some supermodels. I know all of them ain't equal.
Right. Kim we know has money from, sex. But her getting with Pete was just another power move to piss Kanye off, and
line.
Yeah, you know what that is. But nah, these supermodels, they looking at Pete like, yeah, this is an easy win. You're gonna get him.
Pete Davidson is the big winner out of that Kardashian relationship. This dude got commercials now. He
Yeah.
did New Year's Eve in Miami with Miley Cyrus. Like this dude went from just some Saturday Night Live goofball that had an occasional great piece of bun to like he's on TV every day.
Yeah.
Thanks to Kim.
So it happens when you're white. All
Behind
fat.
That too.
behind every great man is finish it, Var. You the feminist here?
Branding.
Or that great woman? um yeah,
Banner?
so Pete Davidson's back out on he was at the Knicks game. Shout out to him, man. Listen, you might be more right than I am, Vari, because I guess that does make sense. If you shoot your shot 100 times, you only got to hit once.
Yeah.
You only got to have a 1% success rate to get one of them. So if you only shoot at baddies, you know what I'm saying? If you could take 99 no's, that might be why he's always in therapy.
And
He get them 99 no's.
and think about it, y'all two watch baseball. Like if you can hit 35%, you consider it a great slugger. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Right. If you're batting 300, they want the wood.
Yeah, exactly. Pete could be doing the same thing.
Yeah. Keep an eye. We'll keep an eye on that and see if we see him now that he's out of his cocoon. If we see him around a little bit more, especially with New Year's coming, I wonder if he's going to do that show again, and that'll be telling whether or not that was a Kim plug or not. It might be.
Certainly Kim plug.
Yeah, I think everything's probably a Kim plug now for him.
I got a question though.
Or was.
I got a question. Who, as much money as Kanye West allegedly has, right?
Had.
Whatever. Who is this man's legal representation?
Himself.
How are you
Well,
forced to pay $200 million
I'm not gonna say it.
in child support? What is it, $200 million?
How you paying $200 million to somebody that make more money than you? That's the question for me.
Yo, I said in the chat, I don't understand how, like, when it's some chick from the club and she gets knocked up by a celebrity or whatever, and they get these crazy child support agreements. I don't even agree with those, but it makes sense to me given the imbalance in the income ratios. You know what I mean? But when it's two rich people, I don't understand how you have to pay that much in child support. That's ridiculous to me.
When you're both like good money, like it's different if you had the money and y'all built a couple and one of you were like you wasn't shooting with me in the gym like Kobe.
Yeah.
But when you talk about both of them make excessive amounts of money, why do we even need to go to court about that piece? Like,
Right.
let's go to court just about, custody, right? 50, 50, 60, 40, 70, 30, whatever that's going to look like. Like, let's do that on paper and everything else on the back end. Like, we got houses, we got cars, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's out of control, but that's the society we live in, yo.
The only thing I would say from like Kim's point of view is maybe she sees the spiral that Kanye's on and is like, yo, let me lock some of this shit in for the kids because I don't know if it's all going to be there.
But she got it. It's not like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like if it's not there for Kanye, they're going to be broke. Like if it's not there for Kanye, they still going to have Kardashian money.
You're absolutely right. But at the same time, though,
you got a sister that's a billionaire, my dude.
Right. But at the
what
same
you
time,
need child support for?
At the same time, rich people's favorite word is more. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? So I that's the only thing I can see is that maybe she's looking at Kanye spiraling and saying, let me lock in some of this bread for the kids because 6 weeks ago, this dude was worth between $1 to $2 billion. And now he's only worth 400 mil. And I mean, I'm saying only like that's not a lot of money, but goddamn, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Or maybe she sees the spiral and thinks that it could impact her branding. because she was married to him, and they're still associated in certain ways. I mean, speaking of which, the Balenciaga thing, right? He was with Balenciaga. They drop him. They come out with that wild ass fucking ad. Did you see the ad?
No.
Okay, so there was an ad of where they had kids. Balenciaga had kids holding teddy bears,
Mm-hmm.
right? These teddy bears were in bondage attire, like real bondage attire, not like, oh, this is a fun teddy bear that you can tie to your bed when you go to bed. No, like leather straps type shit, like true bondage attire.
Okay.
And then as part of this of the promo, somebody placed a piece of paper underneath in one of the images or one of the pictures about how child pornography laws have lessened a little bit. It's not as strict as it used to be. So the world was in uproar. Kim Kardashian kind of came out, did her little half-ass condemning of Balenciaga, but you're starting to see a lot of other celebrities come out and say shit and stuff like that. But all that to say, basically, they're attached to a lot of the same companies.
Okay.
And I'm thinking maybe, right, if her branding, if his branding is fucked up, she may be thinking his branding, could impact her, which is highly doubtful.
None of which has been said really impacts the children's well-being now.
That's true.
Going back to
Or
what
maybe
VP
even the future. You're right.
Going back to what VP said in the beginning, when you look at the letter of most of these child support laws, you're talking about the time spent, the resources spent to care for the children, and it's usually the question is, if this income doesn't exist, can you support your child? And the question is, hey, I don't have it in these certain areas, or I'm paying more in these certain areas for the benefit and well-being and the life of the child. They need to kick in. This is not what's happening here. You know what I mean? Like, I can see if the dude is only coming in on weekends, he ain't paying for how the kid eats Monday through Friday. He ain't paying for the education. He ain't paying for the extracurricular. He ain't paying for none of that. Y'all got it. You know what I mean? Y'all living in the crib he bought. Y'all got assets. Y'all still married. Probably still got accounts that y'all use together. Who knows?
She
You
may
know what I'm
agree.
saying? The dude lives across the street. Like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
200 million?
Yeah.
And we can't, and it's some people out here that really need and deserve the child support help, and they ain't even taking their bum ass baby fathers to court.
Yeah. I mean, I hear you. I think the settlement in my, like, to Steve's point earlier, like, you could have went to court and said, yeah, we just need the paperwork to kill the marriage, and everything else we're good. Or I don't know, maybe if they were fighting over some property, like some houses or something, she can have that house, I'll have the one in Miami, and everything else we got to take care of. You know what I mean? But it's just,
Or she
it's
just
a crazy world.
want to beat him into submission. Like, that could be it too. Like, you know
That's
what?
it is.
You already on a down spiral. You're throwing fucking dirt on my name. Allegedly, you showed pictures of me nude to random
Staff.
people at Adidas. Now you're talking about me getting with Chris Paul, which we'll talk about. And since you're going broke and you lost all your endorsements, I'm gonna take this last little 200 mil you got left too, or 50% of whatever you got left. Let's say he got 400. I'm gonna take 200 of it. You're gonna run through that other 200 trying to do this wild ass shit with the 2024 election and all that other dumb shit. So it could just be that she might just be being spiteful and trying to really take Kanye out.
It could be that whole woman scorn thing. It's a thing for a reason.
Oh, it's real for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's real.
Y'all think CP3 smash?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, she is who she is, and
Don't disrespect Kim like that.
hey, I mean, it is what it is. She got a reputation.
They do have a thing for basketball players, but
Right,
usually
and that's why I was going next.
Chris Paul is like a smooth talking motherfucker. Like, I mean, I don't know how he talks to women, but you know, when you see him in his post games and shit like that, he's a smooth talking motherfucker, man. And I don't think it takes much to talk Kim out of her draws. Like, we've seen a lot of these stars. Like, for example, who was the dude on the Knicks that she was with?
You mean
Chris
Annette?
Humphrey.
Chris Humphrey.
Chris Humphrey. Yeah. Or
Annette?
Nets. Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like this guy is like a Z-list guy. He's like the 15th guy off the bench. You know, made it into the starting lineup after some injuries, and he was with Kim. So you probably don't even, like you said, Vari, baddies don't get dudes just walking up, you know, taking a shot, because we as men are just fucking we pussy, for lack of a better word. You know, we don't you know, no matter how confident you are, the one thing that'll take confidence away from you is a beautiful woman as a man. And so she probably don't get dudes just shooting. The same thing with Pete Davidson, right? He went up, he probably shot at 50 other chicks, and Kim, you know, answered. I'll take 1%. I'll take a 1% shooting rate if I land Kim.
When you look at how she came up through the ranks, starting as Brandy's stylist, like everything that has been going on has been strategic in this lady's life. Like, she was Brandy's stylist, then found a way to smash Brandy's little brother, make a tape that they strategically did and leaked, and then made him the villain for years later. And then you look at how it impacted their entire family. Everything you got to look at these people, and you got to really wonder, like, did they really just set out to cash in on this type of person, like the star black person, star athlete, whoever it is? And you just got to look at it like, who knows what she's really about, man? I don't know, but the way that they came to where they are is pretty nasty.
Yeah. That whole Ray J thing, man, it's crazy. That's just a crazy story. To me, super crazy story. He says that they kind of created it, that they kind of orchestrated it, and all of that. They're kind of saying he leaked it, but if it was truly elite,
why she never sued him?
Why she never sued him? And you're making money off of it.
Monetized it.
What they do? Hustler or some shit like that?
I don't remember. It was one of those porn companies, but yeah, you know, that shit. It all just, you know, to EJ's point, like they move strategically, you know, and what's crazy is, like, before EJ said that, I was waiting for Steve to finish, and I was gonna be like, well, with the Chris Humphries thing, maybe that was a real relationship, but it kind of happened at the time she was having her blow up. And then she probably felt like, oh, I'm better than this dude. So, you know, I got to go to greener pastures. But then EJ said everything he said, and I'm like, yeah, that's probably some bullshit. So,
yeah. So let me reverse real quick to the original question. Y'all think CP3 smashed? Like, Kanye says that he did. Kim is saying that is bullshit. Chris Paul hasn't commented. I don't think Chris Paul is going to comment. Maybe Cliff Paul can give us something. Because we know Chris Paul is married. But that's like, that's dry snitching, man.
Oof.
Do you snitch? Yo, do you snitch on the dude that sleeps with your wife if he's married?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No.
To his wife? To his wife?
Sure.
No.
Sure. You fucked up my family, so I can't blow up yours.
Nah.
Well, he didn't.
All the game, right?
But he didn't. They didn't break up because of that. Like, they on other things going on. That's snitching, man. Listen.
Yeah, I think that's a little.
Sometimes you got to take
a part for the course, bro. Yeah, it's part for the course. I mean, now, do you air her dirty laundry out, and then as a result, does that happen? I don't know.
There might be other consequences, but I mean, listen, man.
That's like, have y'all seen the stories about TJ Holmes, the dude who's on Good Morning America, the black dude?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the same shit. That's the same shit there. Like all these photos getting released in 4K, showing them holding hands and all kind of shit. And
That's the work wife for real.
right, like, you know what I mean? Like somebody hired a private eye and was like, okay, so now let me put this shit out there, you know. So because both of them married, she married, he married. So one of their spouses had a private eye, and they put that shit out in the public. So you know, they like, hey, you fucking up my family, I'll fuck up yours.
I mean, another way to look at it, Steve, is like, okay, take yourself back to Bridgeport, right? And let's just say some chick you was with is messing with the ops from the other side of town, but you know the ops girlfriend. Do you then air it out for spiteness? Because it's like, I don't have no allegiance to that dude. He's to the opposition. Kanye don't have loyalty to them.
I'm glad you said that, because I was about to ask you to clarify ops for us up north folks.
It's what not black folks. It's what the kids say these days.
You got to get out the house more, VP. Yeah, but that's a little different. You already know the person. You have a problem with them, but like in this case, we don't know when that could have happened. There was no details or nothing like that. Basically, he just like, oh, by the way, before I go to bed tonight, it's not going to be anti-Semitism, but Chris Paul fucked my bitch. I'm out. Like that shit's crazy.
DEFCON 3 on Chris Paul.
Right. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and I'm going DEFCON 3.
That's random as hell too. Like Chris Paul of all players.
That's what makes it believable, even if it didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what makes it believable, because Chris Paul is like that wholesome, nice guy. But he also is a dick. Like we've seen Chris Paul be a dick on on some of the audio we hear. But yeah, man, you don't snitch. Listen, you put the beats on them and let them go home and explain to their wife what happened.
Like kind of like Derek Fisher and what you call it, Matt Barnes.
Why you get beat up? What happened? You got into a fight today? Now you gotta tell your wife why you was fighting. Either you gonna come up with some wild ass story, or you gonna tell the truth. You know what I'm saying?
All right, so boom.
Yeah, all right, so check it.
He was at practice. Right. Just snuffed me.
Nah. I parked the car and some kid jumped in it, man. Yeah, so but yeah, TJ Humphrey, that's another one, work wife. That's a prime example. Listen, man, that's a prime example for individuals. I was gonna say women, but that wouldn't be fair. But for individuals to understand, like when your significant other wakes up, before they leave the house, if they don't feel appreciated and they're revered at work, somebody may appreciate them. And that piece of appreciation for a man or a woman, especially a woman. I mean, if you're not, if a woman's not being told she's pretty, her hair looks nice, ass is fat, frame is little, and somebody at work is doing it, bringing her fucking, all it take is fucking Starbucks. We know the power of Starbucks. You bring her a iced mocha latte.
He do what?
Right. Wait, you ain't have breakfast? Oh, I stopped at Starbucks. Look at that. That's how it goes. Man. And then that turns into, oh, she ain't pack your lunch? Well, I was going to step out anyway. You busy? You got a call? Jump on your call. What you want? Text me your order. Next thing you know, you muted yourself.
I thought I was trying to click it. It wasn't working. Better than that. Nah, you got to text me. I already know what it is.
Right. Exactly. Now I was going to go to Burger King, but I know you don't eat meat, so.
Number 2, Swiss cheese.
Right.
Got it. No problem.
That's how it goes, man. And then next thing you know, you're caught up in these pictures, and you may not even love that person. It could just be a release. You know what I'm saying? Like, people, listen, we get one life. You get one life. You either gonna be happy or you're gonna be miserable. And that's my little takeaway for the day.
Yeah.
We get one life, it's not long.
Yo, did you see the TJ Holmes pictures though?
I did.
I saw that private eye was like, he was in there. Like
he was.
got him in the car holding hands.
Now when I watched those pictures,
you saw him, EJ?
and it was paid for with his money.
It probably was.
I mean, it could have been the wife's husband though. You never know.
Either one. But let me ask you, who's the aggressor or the winner in that relationship of TJ and the young lady, his co-host, I forget her name. The reason I ask is because all the pictures, he looks like he was dressed. You know what I'm saying? Like he got up, got dolled up, exfoliated, put on, you know what I'm saying? Put on the good shoes, whatever was pressed. She walking around in some busted up Uggs. Like, so you think he was the prize or she was the prize in that one?
That's tough, man.
And she's white.
Because I'm not familiar with the show, so like I remember when he left CNN and went to the show,
Mhm.
but I'm not sure if she was already there, like kind of like when Regis left Kelly Ripa and then she got a new co-host. You know, I don't know if it was one of them kind of deals or if like he was the guy and then they brought in her as a new co. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not sure who's making the money in that thing. I would assume it's her because she's a chick and she's white.
Well, if it just goes to show if they ever get rid of your co-host, make sure that your wife gets a gay new co-host like Kelly with Ryan Seacrest. Then you ain't got to worry about it. Then you don't got to worry about it. You bring in one of us because niggas is gonna nigga. Like niggas is gonna nig. That's what we do.
I mean, he's not wrong, EJ.
Yeah,
that's like on not to jump ahead or whatever, but on White Lotus from our bingeable section. I don't know if you saw last week's episode, Steve, but the front desk manager, turns out she's gay and she likes the chick at the front desk, but the dude always be hitting her up. So she moved that motherfucker out to the beach house. And they put a gay dude at the front desk.
Is that dude gay or does he just have a bad voice and is ugly?
I think he's gay. It's pretty implied.
The crazy part about it is like I just did a quick Google search on TJ Holmes, right? And the only picture you see with him and like his wife are at like a bunch of award shows and shit. This nigga's running marathons with Amy Robach, whatever his co-host. Like, it was clear your man is running marathons out there with this young lady, and you not a part of them.
He's on. Like, nah, it's because we covering the March of Dimes. You see, it's not a thing.
We're doing it. We're doing it as part of our work. You know what the other nasty work is, and this is a 2-year-old post, but so imagine, right? 2 years ago, this man posted. And I'm gonna try and read it pretty quickly to be mindful of those time listening. This particular decade challenge is a little late, but 10 years ago, his wife married me, and despite my best efforts, she remained married to me the past 10 years. That's not hyperbole. I'm not being dramatic. I gave her plenty of reason, excuses, and opportunities to walk her fine ass out the door. But instead, with her built-in black woman superpower, she showed a grace and patience that's incomprehensible. Asking for another 10 years. Asking for another 10 years would be asking too much. Another 10 months, that may even be a stretch. If she even gave me another 10 weeks, I should consider myself lucky. If she puts up with me another 10 days, I'd be grateful. But if she would even spare 10 minutes of her time for me today, I should consider myself blessed. This is her name. Y'all and TJ Holmes, do solemnly swear that I was her decade challenge. My man. Listen, I'm telling you, all it takes is the right words.
Now, read another way, you could read that as saying, I mean, I gave her every chance. You know what I
mean? Right. I told her, bitch, she need to leave.
Right.
Does it bode worse for a black woman to find out that their husband is gay or with a white woman?
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good question.
Is it Andrew? No, let me not say that.
Yeah, no, leave Andrew Gillum alone. Leave Andrew Gillum alone.
That's a good question. I don't know.
What about? Yeah, that's a tough one. Well, how would you? So from a man standpoint, if you well, I'm not married to a black woman, but you two gentlemen, one was, would you have preferred or would you prefer a woman or a white man?
Damn.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
I would.
That is tough.
You see how ain't shit our society is today. We caught between. We listen. What happened to the? I just want you to be happy. Like,
Because on one end, it's like, damn, you're like what am I not doing? You know, and then on the other end, it's like, how's the ancestors looking at me? Like,
right.
Who man?
Yeah, that's tough, man.
I was gonna say in the part of the woman, I could see them forgiving the black dude sooner because some part of them had to have known, like, boy, you sweet, you know, like at some point.
Listen, man.
And then it's kind of like, okay, they could be friends now, but but now you reversed it.
Yeah, if you're a black woman and your man cheats on you with a white woman, you can blame social media, you can blame TV, because that's all they throw at us. They tell us that this is how you should look. All these L'Oreal fucking commercials. You scroll down your Instagram, unless you follow specific people, you go to that Explorer page. Now they got a bunch of thicky, post op people, but for the most part, they tell you that blonde hair, blue eyes, beautiful, right? Commercials during the Super Bowl, commercials during football, anytime you turn on TV, that's what you're seeing. And we're seeing it change a little bit with some more culture and some of these companies using them in advertising and shit. But for the most part, right, that's what's there. So as a man who started out as a boy, who watched a lot of TV, grew up in this society and in this world, you have to be curious. You may not have ever tested the waters, but you have to have been curious, like, and you have to look at a white woman at some point in your life, even if you've always been attracted to just black women, and been like, man, I wonder what that's like, or wow, she's really pretty, because they tell us that's beauty. Or is that just a cop out for black women?
Yeah, I
just
know.
come up with a cop out?
No. Absolutely fucking not.
I tried.
Oh man, no.
I tried. I did my best.
I think I'd rather her be with a gay. I'd rather be gay, because I could be like, that's who she really felt like she is at the end of the day. I don't feel
she's
like
just confused right now. That's all. She's still learning herself.
I mean, yeah, that goes over a little easier than.
Yeah, I think so. I think I have to agree with that. I think it was, yeah.
Because you was gay the whole time. That's what
right.
I'm gonna tell myself. You was gay the whole time. It ain't me.
And at least the other one. She don't. She not. She don't got you. She don't got you in length and girth. She ain't got one.
She not Pete Davidson. You.
Right. Exactly. Right. She not outdoing you.
That's why Kanye lost it, man.
Yeah, Kanye. Listen, man. Kanye. That man. He needs help, man. He needs help. It's starting to get, and I think Charlemagne said it a few weeks ago, and everybody kind of gave him a little bit of a hard time and shit. And it was a little bit insensitive, but that's Charlemagne, right? That's his delivery. It's getting scary, man. Like it's getting to a point where you have to start to worry about this guy's well-being, from a standpoint of harming himself. Like he's losing everything he has. When you continue on like this, and the mental health issues that he has, if he's not on his meds, whatever is causing this, I have to assume that on the back end, Kim is like, yo, I don't want my kids alone with him. Like, you know what I'm saying? He was a great dad. Everything I knew of him was a great dad and a great person at that time, but he's completely changed. He's saying shit that's just, he's willing to harm people with his words. He's making threats to people like, I can't, can't let my kids be around. Right. And that could be the breaking point especially for any father, any good father. That could be a breaking point.
Yeah. I mean, I said that, I think that was last week when we were talking, and I was like, I feel like, you know, 15, 20 years from now, we can be watching a Kanye documentary on Netflix or whatever. And when they get to episode 3, we're gonna be like, yo, I remember when that shit was going down in 2022. It was
Mhm.
wild, because it seems like you're watching, the scenes that are gonna be in whatever episode when they show this dude really broke. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
The Last Dance,
yeah,
Kanye
this
edition.
shit is just this shit is insane, man. Like the dude needs help, man. He needs fucking help.
Yeah, he lost his longtime engineer, cut ties with him now. Like he don't have nothing. He don't have nothing. And what he does have is not genuine. He's got these racists, these anti-Semites, these politicians that are utilizing him for his name and they assume to be his reach and basically using him as a puppet. He's gonna say what I'm thinking. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And then I don't have to say it. And when they come out and say, hey, well, so and so said X, Y, Z. No, 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 no. I didn't say that. I was just on the show with Kanye when he said it.
Right.
I didn't say I agreed or disagreed with him, but I was there.
And and I know I think he probably has issues with his family or whoever, because you're wondering, like, where are the people who love him to an intervention or I don't know if he's reached the stage where, like, in Florida, like, you can Baker Act people and shit like that. I don't know if they have that in California or wherever he lives, but it's like, where are the people in his life who care about him to try to get a hold of him and say, look, man, like, we love you, we care about you, we think you're spiraling, and we feel like we need to step in,
Yeah.
but
I,
it seems like that shit is not happening.
I think from when you look at how he grew up, I don't know that there was much more than him and his mom. It really seemed as though it was just those two, and we always talk about the impact of him losing his mother. And then he's also not to that point where we could say a lot of the stuff he's doing is outlandish, which it is, right? But he isn't out here, naked in the street, assault people randomly. So I
Yeah.
mean, it takes a lot to get to that stage. Right now, at some point you can still be questioning whether this dude is just about to drop another album or is he actually serious. But I also think too, like I always say, I blame us because, and I mean society and all of us that pay attention, we give him attention. Give him attention. It's like if you've ever been on a train and you've seen someone that has mental health issues, and I've seen people not know how to engage with them, and sometimes the best way to not get into it with them is to not engage, remove yourself, and just let them be where they are. Now, I also have seen the random moments where they just gonna lash out at you, but it sometimes you just gotta let them be what they're gonna be within themselves, and that's it. And I mean, because of who Kanye is, every little thing he says is gonna be something to talk about.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the media, everyone's looking for a click. You know what I mean? So 10 years ago, you may not have heard half of this shit, you know? But it
Not
also
even
goes to
care.
show you, yeah, it also goes to show you that, being a black man in this society is probably the hardest thing in the world. um, and maintaining a certain level of whatever it is, right? When you look at and that's why you got to give the kudos to the LeBron Jameses, the Jay Z's, the guys that are never in trouble, that don't get themselves into this wild ass shit. Because you look at the Kanyes, you look at the Antonio Browns, you look at the Ti, you look at these guys that go through this life, they hit this stardom, um, and then Des Bryant, even, like, I mean, he's reeled himself back in now, but he was on a binger for a little bit too. Um, and it's it. I know it sounds like a cop out, and at some point, I'm always one to say that we have to stop blaming race and making everything about race and shit like that. But you don't see this with other people of other races or ethnic backgrounds, where the extreme amounts of just what's the word I'm looking for, decline, right, and just their mental state from holding it together to be a super 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 duper star to like completely wild ass crazy in the world.
No, we've seen it. It's the level we've seen it in Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan, Amber Heard, I guess.
Yeah,
But
but they get coddled. Look at Britney. They fought
yeah.
for her to get her freedom, and this bitch is being crazy again. She getting, she's doing her wild shit again. Now ain't nobody like, oh, let Kanye be. He just needs some time. Like, nah.
No,
Nope.
we're certainly gonna get killed more.
Antonio Brown was just in a standoff with the police, like
Yeah, that
because he
was
has a
wild.
warrant for his arrest. Like these are just these aren't even. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's wild, man. I mean, but the you know, I would want to just push back a little bit on the whole Jay-Z thing. There was that elevator moment.
Yeah,
You know?
I was about to say. I thought the same shit. Solange
But that
definitely
wasn't.
whooped
But
his ass.
that wasn't him. That was her. That's the woman being crazy.
No, I know.
But
I'm saying like
but the reason behind it.
the reason behind it.
Oh yeah. I don't know what the reason was. Did that ever come out?
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, you know,
I don't.
Jay-Z
Maybe
apologist.
right.
no. Maybe I'm not close enough to.
I mean, I heard the Lemonade album. I actually watched it. I didn't just hear it.
Oh, yeah, but listen, man, I'm Jay Z. Like it's the same thing with LeBron, and same thing Chris Paul should be turning around and saying to his wife, "Listen, I'm Chris Paul. Like you knew what you was getting into. Soon as I signed that contract, soon as I got drafted, you knew there was consequences to this. It was just how long, and when, and how many. Like, tis the
Wow.
world. Listen, I would live with it if I was here with Kim today, and I went from being here in my little $300,000 house to that, and she just decided she was gonna stay. You know what, Kim? I get it. You needed it. You need your space. You needed your space. What did I do wrong? What can I do better next time? Like that's listen, it's reality, man.
You saying it's par for the course.
It's just the reality of the situation, man. When you're in the public eye like that, and it's constantly available, sure, you're gonna have. What are the ratios of the people that can fight it? You got LeBron James. Tell me another one. Tell me another. I mean, I'm sure there's more, right? But I'm talking mega huge stars
level.
like that, right? There's I'm sure you know the Delonte Wests, and even still he smashed LeBron's mom. But like the the sixth man of the year, the Jamal Crawfords, right? Those guys maybe not as much, but when you're talking about that level star, the maybe a DJ Khaled, like that's probably the other one who's like a mega star that you don't hear too much about. But when you're at that level, listen, man, you got to know that comes with potential. There's a chance there. There's a risk. There's a risk factor. Like
LeBron is 1 in a million right now.
Yeah,
right. And that's why that's the one thing we always commend him about, being a great individual, man.
Yeah, and then like the dude, like I always remember that video when he was leaving the club and the chicks was like trying to walk behind him and he went down the up escalator. He got me fucked up.
Yeah, LeBron crazy, yo. It's either he crazy or she crazy. Maybe Savannah just that crazy. He probably believe she will kill him. For real. I gotta believe that Bron could walk into any room today and land something. If there's more than 10 in there, he could land something.
Pretty quick. No doubt.
That's
It's not even
easy
a
work.
question.
So, and I have to assume that when he's on the road, we know that these people find their ways into the, into the hotels and stuff like that. Like so you got to commend this guy, man. 20 years in the league. I mean, granted, he started young. He didn't get to go to college. Right. You know what I'm saying? He didn't get to do his, stomp the yard, his one night stands and all of that. Like this dude came straight out of high school and been, from everything we know on paper, he's been with one individual.
Right. But also, I mean, if you think about it from his perspective, growing up, no father, single mom, it's possible that he could have seen his mom go through it with dudes and he's like, yo, like, that's not what I want for my life or for my chick, whatever. And that could be why he's like that,
Oh,
'Cause
the
we're
why
'cause
behind it. I don't care about the why behind it. I just commend him for doing for it. For you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? For being that guy. Like whatever it is, it could be that it could be. I'm not gonna say it. This is just stuff. But yeah, even Dwayne Wade, right? Your guy, hero number one. We even heard Kobe kind. We even heard Kobe kind of
Nah,
throw.
not Wade so much, man. I you know, Siobhan has put some shit out there, so
No,
I
no,
don't
no,
know.
no. I'm saying Wade is on the other side of it. He's not
Oh,
the.
okay.
He's not the good
Got
guy.
you,
Right.
Oh
got
yeah,
got
yeah,
you.
for sure.
Okay.
Mellow, Mellow,
Yeah,
Wade.
Mello, like it comes with the territory, man. When you're a superstar, megastar like that, it happens.
Yeah.
You know, and you gotta take it unless you got your own money. You gotta take it. You gotta live with it. You know what? Go get a new Birkin. You know what I'm saying, take a vacation. Go ahead. I'm be on the road anyway. Go take 2 weeks. Go to wherever. That's the
Terrible.
That's life, man. That's life.
Or you can get that personal trainer that they was talking about in White Lotus.
Oh, White Lotus, yeah.
I-
Steve must not
I'm-
watch the
Steve, you gotta
the next
catch up.
episode.
I'm so far behind on White Lotus, but I've been watching so
Oh.
much other shit, man.
Yeah, you'll when you get to that episode, you'll get it. Sound like you need
Okay.
a trainer.
Yeah, I haven't been watching White Lotus. I did. You know what I've been watching? I've been watching Wednesday. I think I told you guys that.
Mhm.
I'm almost done. It's only 8 episodes, but I've been kind of slow watching, slow playing it. It's actually pretty damn good. And I
Let me
thought
ask you
that
this. Do you have to have seen all of the Addams Family shit
No.
to rock with? Okay, because I
Not
only
at all.
seen like the first 2 movies, and I haven't seen anything like since then.
if you know that Gomez is her father, Morticia is her mother, that's all you need to know. Some people probably know some Wednesday backstories that you might have read about, like you know how you are with Game of Thrones, and you be reading wild ass fucking shit about every character. There's probably people that are like Wednesday enthusiasts, and they might know her backstory. I don't know her backstory. I remember the scene from what was it, Values, when she went off to camp and she lit the pilgrims on fire type shit, like and this kind of plays off of that a little bit. So
Gotcha.
yeah, you're kind of learning a little bit about what that was hinting at. But it's only 8 episodes, it's an hour long. The woman that plays, or I don't know if she's a woman or a girl, but the person that plays Wednesday is fucking spot on, man. She's spot on. She captured it amazing. Brianna Tarth is in it. And I thought that was her, and I had to Google it yesterday. That's why I had to tell you, VP. And then
Christina
you know I
Ricci,
didn't.
the original Wednesdays in it.
I was about to get to her. She looked pretty. She looked pretty in it. She looks good in it. And Catherine Zeta-Jones actually captured the Morticia look really nice.
Yeah.
Really
I can't
good.
even remember who the original one is. Or was it her?
No, I don't think
it
she
wasn't her. It was an older lady. I can't remember who it was. The original one.
Yeah, but they did a good job. And then old boy, that everybody, you see him in every movie, but he plays Gomez. Funny Spanish dude. But yeah,
Guzman.
He's in it, but we don't see too much of them. The bulk of it is Wednesday off at a school and with a bunch of other kids and shit. But it's almost like good. I don't know. I can't put it's hard to put it. It's almost like a kid, like a teeny bopper. Like, you know, me and EJ be watching like Saved by the Bells remakes and shit like that. Sort of like that, but it's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah,
Jenna Ortega. That's what you just posted in the chat. A little bit of research from the VP around these parts.
Yeah, she's been in a couple of joints, a couple of good roles. But the first Morticia was Angelica Houston. Yeah, the new Scream remake. She's in that, the opening part of it, which I think they're coming out with another one actually.
Yeah, but you guys gotta. I mean, you gotta watch. Even if you're not a fan of the Addams Family like that, it's still a pretty damn good show. I mean, it's been like 2 weeks that it's been out, and it's been #1 on Netflix every single day. Every time I gotta go look for it, I don't even have to look at my previously watched. I just look at #1 on Netflix. And
that's what I did with Squid Game. I just went straight to #1. It was there.
Yeah, I'm like 5 episodes out of 8 done, but it's good. It's really good.
Yeah, I have to check it out. when you were saying in the chat about Brienne of Tarth, and you were like, Brienne of Tarth Wednesday, and I'm like, are they making a show about her? I didn't know they was like I wasn't putting it together until like until like now on the pod or whatever. So but yeah, I want to check it. I got it on the list. As soon as you said it last week, I put it on my watch list on Netflix. So I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, I think Aaron. I think your wife will like it a lot too. Like the type of show it is. Even if she's not an Addams Family person, I think she'll like that show.
I watched episode 1. It's good. It's exactly as you described, Steve. It's like that dark type show for young people, but the nostalgia of what it used to be, kind of thing. So
yeah, and there's like mystery in it. There's comedy in it, like super dry humor. That's my shit. So, man, she's a beast though. I like that girl. I'm gonna call her a little girl because we found out that she's 20. Thanks for that research, VP. But she does a great job, man. Jenna Marie Ortega. I don't know what else she's in, but that's the girl from Jane the Virgin. No.
Yep.
Man. She did a good job though. She did a good job. And then of course Tulsa King. Man, everyone that I've told to watch it is like, yo, this shit is amazing. It's only so far I think it's 3 or 4 episodes in, but Stallone can't miss in this one. I don't think he can mess it up at this point. It'll take a lot for them to screw it up.
Like, Stallone doesn't get his flowers, man. Like I was saying to y'all in the chat, when you think about it, back in the day when we were coming up, he used to be the butt of the joke, acting wise for his expressions and stuff. But when you look at his resume, though, this dude has been in the game since 72. Like Rocky came out in 72, I believe. And then that whole franchise, just Rocky alone, just sticking with that, right? You from Rocky 4 in 1984, you have now had 3 films in the late 2000s about a character he wrote in 84, which is it's incredible. And then you look at the films that he's done in between, the Judge Dredds, the Demolition Mans, all of the stuff that he's done, the Rambo series. This dude Stallone has been killing it for years, man. And he truly, you got certain people that are up there in American cinema. You got Pacino, De Niro, you got guys Schwarzenegger, Stallone. When you Denzel,
non-black.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, and to that mean a lot to American cinema, not only from an acting standpoint, but a writing, producing, directing standpoint.
Right. I think what may have happened there is that even though Stallone is white and Schwarzenegger is white, right? They kind of are like minorities for like with us, like how like we got like that one chick who's like the woman, the black woman actress who's like the shit or whatever, like for me, and it's like Angela Bassett, like Denzel. You know what I mean? I would say Will Smith was gonna be that until everything happened at the Oscars, right?
He's still that.
For us, he is, right? But I mean, I think some people might like, I don't know about this guy, But I look at Stallone and Schwarzenegger as kind of like almost being minorities in that sense, because they're like the big muscle bound guys, right? Mm-hmm. And it seems like Stallone kind of always stayed in that lane, whereas Schwarzenegger had some crossover, stuff like Kindergarten Cop,
right?
And the one Christmas joint that he did with Sinbad,
Jingle All the Way,
yeah, and shit like that. So it's kind of like he became that guy where Stallone almost seemed like he was more typecast, because he was always in like the same kind of film where he's just like some big muscle bound dude doing
something, either in the army, a boxer, a killer, a cop, like all the same shit.
But the thing is with that, and you're right, because these two, Stallone, Bruce Willis, and Schwarzenegger are the 3 biggest action American stars to ever live all time. It's a fact. But Stallone never really got credit for the range in acting that he tried to portray. Like if you even look at the early Rocky movies, a lot of it was him capturing the drama, that Rocky was going through, being poor, being broke, and then sticking with Adrian, and all of that. And even in the Rambo piece, capturing PTSD that early on, just different films that he's done throughout time. I can't think of other ones at the moment, but Copland, the one where the mom, something I can't remember what it was with the grandmom, but yeah, I mean, regardless, and I agree with you. The dude though is just, when you look at his body of work over 40, well, now over 50 years now, it's incredible, man. It's crazy, just to see. So to watch him in this Tulsa King thing, I need to see it. I'm here for it,
Yeah.
I think he you know what it is? People never really gave him the opportunity to grow. And when I say people, I don't mean like Hollywood, because they gave him plenty of roles, but I mean us individually as seeing growth in his actor. We always see him as the yo Adrian, like that, you know what I'm saying? The shit that he got, to EJ's point, got killed for. We never saw his growth or acknowledged his growth, and I think in this we're seeing it. I mean, listen, to your point, 50 years, just about 46 years of acting, on the big screen. You should be good by now, and he does look good. And I think it's, who's similarly getting that type of treatment today, to both of your points, as Stallone and Schwarzenegger, is The Rock. Like, we're starting to see The Rock in a lot more films, and if you go back to some of his earlier work that he was in, he was absolute trash compared to today. And I'm not saying he's Denzel or anybody by any stretch of the means today, but he's a lot better than he was, and you would assume that you would get better, with time, and if you dedicate time and effort to the craft.
Nah, you're absolutely right, and I think one thing that, like, with The Rock, like, he didn't start off saying like, oh, I'm like, when you see John Cena in movies, John Cena is the same character in every movie. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Whereas The Rock, he does a range of things, and it's like, he might be in a comedy,
fairy.
right? He might be in a comedy, he might be in something serious, Black Adam, etc. You know what I mean? And he's trying to have some range,
Yeah.
But some guys allow themselves to just stay in that one role where they're almost the same character. Big guy shoots gun, big guy beats people up or whatever, and so, but also, like, going back to the thing I was saying with the whole, like, Schwarzenegger and Stallone, I think also the thing that kind of, in even though Stallone has done more work with Schwarzenegger, like, he did Terminator, and Terminator is just, I mean, the shit is just iconic. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think that kind of really, really set him apart from Stallone. Even though when you look at Schwarzenegger's earlier days, he was, big guy, does this thing, Conan, and that shit was iconic, Conan.
Predator.
But he did
Predator.
like, he did Twins, like, and
right.
For Schwarzenegger, to your, what I think we're missing too is he's always had an amazing co-star, right? I forget the woman's name in Terminator. I don't know why it's
Hamilton.
Linda Hamilton.
Yeah. So we had her, you had DeVito in Twins. Like, he's always had a great or good co-star who on screen is should make you better, right? Or should polish up that last scene where you did some stupid shit, but they're just that good of an actor or actress that this next scene helps you forget about it. So I think that's kind of, and Kevin Hart seemingly is in that same boat now, right? We like Kevin Hart in some roles, and we don't think he's the greatest stand-up, and but he's always with someone, Adam Cranston, in those roles where he needed someone to make it a little better.
He does better on his serious. Yeah, he does better on his serious films than he does when he's trying to be funny.
You see what he did there, EJ?
Yeah,
because he knows I don't like Kevin Hart, so he tries to throw in Bryan Cranston because he knows it's the only movie I like with Kevin Hart.
Yeah, that was a good flick though. But I mean, and then the other one. Did
I say Adam Cranston?
Yeah,
no, you said Bryan.
No, he said Adam. He said Adam for sure.
He said Bryan, my bad.
And then the other film that he did on Netflix when his wife passed, that was a good one. It's like the movies, he needs to stick to those serious movies. The movies where he is literally intending to be funny, it's not good. It just
It's
doesn't
not
pan out well.
because all of the comedy is I'm short, and it's like, yo, we get it, dude. Like, you know, that was 10 years ago, man. We got to move on from this shit. Like,
Yeah, just
Yeah.
be that guy who's going through something, because he's relatable, you know, and whether you like him or hate him, you know, when you look at his story and where he came from, you know, North Philly dude, you know, from the hood, you know what I mean, just his life has been there, you know, he's really come up from the ranks, he's really earned his keep, and it's like he plays the underdog well because he understands what it is. And those are the roles that we like, you know, those roles where it's like, oh, night school, like, come on, man, like this shit is ridiculous, like, come on, you
yeah.
know.
I actually like Night School. I didn't think it was a good movie, but it wasn't where he was. I guess he was kind of, but he wasn't trying to be funny. It wasn't like a comedy to me. Although it was, I think to what you're saying, EJ, I agree with you 100%. When he's just being a person and he lets, you know, his comedy, you know, just his natural comedy come
It's
out,
phenomenal.
he's a way better actor.
It's phenomenal. Like that movie with Cranston, it was phenomenally done. It was just like and he can act. I think
Right.
if he plays that serious role where he's just being himself, a person who's going through something, you can feel it. You know, like
Yeah.
when he lost his wife in that movie, and you could just feel it. You know what I'm saying? It's just better that way to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Um, there was something else that I watched that I wanted to tell you
Have
guys
you
about.
watched Wakanda Forever?
No,
No,
I've been
I,
trying.
I won't be seeing it. So
You're not going to see it at all?
no, I will. Remember I told you.
Oh, but you mean you're not going to see it in the theaters?
Yeah, I'm not gonna see it in theater. I'm gonna have to
Clarify
watch it
that.
at home.
Clarify that. It sounded like you weren't going to watch it. Like you was
So
canceling somebody.
right.
But I
So
know, but we know why.
no. So essentially, what happened is, you know, I discussed it with Steve when we were running a 2-man on the pod. You know,
Wait,
so
which one was that? Did he just mute himself?
so
In the middle of talking?
so when we was running the 2-man or whatever, like I told Steve, like, you know, Aaron had eye surgery recently or whatever, so she had a hard time seeing. So when we watch stuff, I usually watch it and like narrate it to her. Like she can hear what they're saying, obviously, but I'm like I kind of say, "Oh, so and so like got this like what the fuck look on their face or whatever." You know what I mean? So she can kind of get a sense of what's going on. So that's why I don't want to see it yet. I'm gonna wait so we can watch it together.
That'd be a little bit much. You should see Surrey right now. I bet you'd really like this.
Oh my god!
Yeah, you should just wait. Wait till she get right. I haven't seen it. It's on my to-do list. But you know, life happens. You know, when you don't have a babysitter, live-in babysitter, it gets tough.
Yeah.
I hear you.
What did but there was something else that I watched that I wanted you guys to watch. I can't remember. If I find it, I'll go into it. That's probably why I went first. VP, you been watching anything new?
Not the new, man. I kind of finished up the stuff that I have been talking about on previous episodes. I finished up that show, The Universe, the thing about the planet and stuff like that, narrated by Morgan Freeman. It's only like
Yes.
6 episodes, so that was pretty good. I'm into like astronomy and stuff, so you know it's right up my alley.
That's how he
Um,
pulled them in astronomy.
but you know, I watched another
Astrology.
episode of The Cleaning Lady, and I think I'm gonna have to give up on that show.
I,
It's getting
I
worse.
when I was listening to y'all talk about that shit, I was so mad at you because I had posted about this like maybe 6 months ago when it originally came out. And I was like, this show is unbelievably ass.
Yeah,
I was
it's
like,
bad.
this shit is unbelievable. I
It's
think they're in
bad.
season 2 now. I was like, this shit is terrible.
Yeah,
I was so shocked you even bought into that. I was dying
yeah.
laughing.
I felt like it did enough to like get me to watch another episode, and in each episode, I'm like, why am I still watching this shit?
This
Like,
shit was phony
so,
from the gate, man.
yeah. So
From the gate.
I think I'm gonna leave that one behind. But I got to like episode 7, and I think I'm done. But
Yeah,
and
they're in
then
season 2 now, I think, right?
yeah, I'm not gonna make it that far. So, but and then just finished up yesterday. The Peripheral, they had the season finale on Friday, the Amazon show I told you about.
Mm.
Um, so I like it. I know EJ had some problems with it. We had some of the same problems, but it did enough to keep me watching. I'll be here for season 2.
I didn't finish this last episode that came out. Now that you mention it, I started watching it, but actually, I think I did. Yeah, I did finish it. It's getting too hairy. It's just certain things, and this is one thing I was thinking about, and I thought about you initially, and I think Steve might have said this. Some things just don't. Some things need to stay books. They don't belong on the screen because it's just not going to make a lot of sense. Because you can tell it's a lot of shit missing in what's going on. Because a lot of shit is happening, and you got to piecemeal it together. And it's like, oh, I think this generally makes sense, but why does it make sense?
Yeah, like and what's funny is that I watched the season finale, and at the end, I was pretty much tracking the whole thing, and then when it got to the end, I was a little lost on what happened. I think I got it, but I wasn't sure. So I watched an explainer video on YouTube, and then when they explained it, the dude in the video, like, he did like a setup to kind of say, like, this is what's been happening, and like this what led us to the season finale. And then in a couple of things that he was explaining in the setup, he was like, so they have this, and basically that just means yada yada yada. And it seems like the showrunners are just gonna leave it at that and just hope that you get it. But it sounds like one of those things where in the book they give you great detail to make you understand what's happening with this thing, so you have greater understanding of what's happening in the show at large, and or in the book, I mean. But in the show, they're not doing that. They just kind of say, this is what it is, and then you just either get it or roll with it or get rolled over. So
yeah
Get down or lay down.
Right.
Yeah, that's literally where it's at.
Okay. Nothing else, VP, aside from your normal stuff?
Just the normal stuff at this point, man.
What about you, EJ?
I mean, I've been put on the White Lotus, and I didn't watch the first season, but the second season. Yeah, I've been watching the second season, and while it's captured me, I'm invested now. I'm shocked that y'all liked it because the premise of it, just watching rich folks just do rich folk shit. I found it hard to believe that y'all liked it, but I mean the acting in it, the different personalities, the different things. I mean, when you think about it, it's really literally a show about nothing. Like it's a show about
You're
something
right.
leading
People
up
on
to
vacation.
something, but it's really a show about nothing. I mean, there are interwoven subplots, but it's like really each episode is really about nothing. Something random is happening each time, and it goes into the subplot of the people leading up to a large plot, but it's not a real plot that you can rally behind every week. So it's interesting though.
So if you had watched season 1, so let me say this first: the 2 seasons aren't really connected in any way besides
I was gonna say,
mom.
Yeah, right. I was gonna say season 1 seems completely different from season 2.
So like the only thing from the only 2 things I would say from season 1 that you would get or that would connect it or make you have an understanding of kind of what happened is the Stifler mom character, obviously, because her husband, she met him at the White Lotus in season 1. And then when Stifler mom says the thing about maybe I should have opened that spa for troubled women with that lady that I met, that happened in season 1. Other than that, like you don't have to have watched season 1 to understand what's going on in season 2. But had you watched season 1, like, it's kind of like the same vibe. It's these random people who showed up on vacation together, and they're having these things that are happening to them individually, is exposing things that are going on within their relationships or their life or whatever. And then they get to the end of their 1 week vacation, and you see what happens to whether they get closer together, they drift further apart. And it's the same thing that's happening with these folks. So I would say you for White Lotus is not necessarily a watch to say, oh, we're seeing like rich people do rich people shit or whatever. It's more of what's happening in the relationships. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. I'm watching it. I'm invested now. And we had some theories about who it is floating in the water. But yeah,
Season
had some
one was
interesting
comedic.
theories.
Season one was funny. It sounds like this one
Yeah.
is not as funny. Oh, look at that.
Yeah. Oh my
Hey,
God.
yo.
We've made it.
That said the right words, huh?
Yeah, we know.
Oh
We made
my
it.
goodness.
That is funny.
Oh my God, yeah.
Good.
But
Fuck that person real quick.
but nah, like it's season one definitely was funnier. This season seems to be a little bit more kind of be a little bit more serious,
Mhm.
But I like it overall. I like it. I think it's a good show.
I watched Medea's Homecoming. That was the third one. I watched it yesterday. I don't know if it's. I don't know what. I know you hate Tyler Perry because you don't like successful black people, except for Barack Obama.
Oh my God.
see that? I'm a painter of narratives. But I'm not sure when it was released. I know it was 2022, so February this year. So it's probably pretty old. Kind of actually, it's old. February 2022. But I thought it was pretty good.
Mhm.
I thought
A lot of people said it was good.
in comparison to a lot of the other Tyler Perry movies that we've seen recently. Like I've always liked the Tyler Perry ones. But it's also because I'm different than you guys, and I always say it. I go into movies expecting certain things, and I try not to deviate my thought pattern anywhere within the movie. Not halfway through, not 10 minutes in, not an hour in. So I either if my standards are low and it's better, then it's a good film to me. So this one again, I felt like when we watch Tyler Perry, we know what we're looking for stereotypical black people acting wild and crazy and shit like that. So you get that, but there was actually some plot twists in this one that made it pretty good, and it was funny. Like there was I thought Tyler Perry did a good job as Joe, Uncle Joe. There was some moments there where he was really funny as him. Even Medea, sometimes he's overdoes it with her. He did, but there was some spots where he was pretty good and funny with her. And then Mr. Brown and stuff. So I thought the writing on this was good. It sounds like this might have been a different writer than whoever's written some of the past ones, but he figured in a lot of like the recent current event shits like Black Lives Matter and stuff like that into it somehow. So I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard it was good. I actually heard that one was good.
You should watch it. You guys should watch it.
It's
It's a quick hour and a half, not something that you need to be like tuned into to pay attention to see, to know exactly what's going on. And that's what I expected out of it. It did the job. Kept me busy. All right. Politics, VP, anything?
We got
winter break, Warnock.
Yeah, we got the Georgia runoff coming up this Tuesday. Is the runoff election day, December 6th. So hopefully anybody in Georgia, get out there and vote if you haven't voted. I think early voting ended on Friday of last week, and then they got the actual runoff election that'll happen on Tuesday. They say a lot of people, they have really high turnout, and I hate when that happens like that. Not that I hate that high turnout. It's just that they passed that law in Georgia. You can't give out water. You can't do this. You can't do that. They shortened the runoff period and things to try to prevent the Democratic side from organizing to get people out to vote. If you weren't eligible to vote in the general election, you can't vote in the runoff and that kind of bullshit like that, right? And so then, people come out and say, oh, this is voter suppression, do. And then now the numbers are up and they say, how's there suppression? Look at these numbers, And so, yeah. So anyway, that'll happen on December 6th, the runoff election between Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker. SNL actually did a skit on Herschel Walker last night. So I got to check that out on YouTube to see if it's available. I heard it was funny, but I haven't seen it yet with
had to
Kenan
be
Thompson.
Kenan, right? Yeah.
And then playing Herschel Walker. So so you got that. The Supreme Court in February is going to hear the student loan case for the group of Republicans that are suing to block the student loan forgiveness program by Biden, which is why Biden extended the payments until June, because it's very likely they'll hear the case in February and the decision will come out at some point in June. So watch this space for that.
In my email, I thought it said that
payment, meaning you can still apply.
No. So like the pause was supposed to end.
The pause in payments
was supposed to end on December 31st.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then the courts blocked it because it's going to play out until June. They went ahead and extended it all the way through June.
I read something. I was reading something. You can confirm or deny it, VP, but because I don't follow it as much as you, but I thought I read something that said that the Biden administration said they were going to extend it until either June or until it passes. Meaning, if it gets struck down in June, they're going to continue the pause.
Right. So basically, what they're saying is that because the court's going to hear the case.
Or was that just a play on words?
No. So you're kind of in the ballpark. So the court is going to hear the case. The Supreme Court's going to hear the case in February, right? They could decide the case a week later. You know what I mean? Yeah. Then they know where things stand.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
But normally what happens is in cases that are considered like the big cases, the court doesn't release those opinions until June. So like even like in the Dobbs case, the one that overturned Roe v. Wade, they heard that case in early December, but they didn't release the opinion until June at the end of the Supreme Court's term. And so that's likely what's going to happen here. They'll hear the case in February and then they'll release the opinion in June. And then at that point, they'll know where they stand on the forgiveness program, whether the courts say yay or nay, and then they'll move forward from there.
There's still no interest right now, right? During this pause? I need to confirm.
I'm not sure on that.
I need to see if the interest is paused. I know it has been up until this point, but I'm wondering, I would assume with the extension, and the reason I'm asking is because, I'm going to try and, be smart. Be smart here.
And then the other thing was that the Democrats in the House of Representatives, they had their elections for leadership. They elected Hakeem Jeffries of New York to be the Democratic Party leader in the House of Representatives. He'll be replacing Nancy Pelosi. It's the first time a black person has been elected as leader of a party in Congress. Catherine Clark will be his number 2. She's a congresswoman from Illinois, a white woman. And then Pete Aguilar of California will be the number 3 Democrat from California. So basically, it's them trying to say, like, this is the Democratic Party. We are a mosaic, of the country. You got a black man, a Hispanic man, a white woman, who are all in the leadership. They're all young.
Wait, who was the third one?
Pete Aguilar. He's a congressman from California.
Not Pete. That was the other one. The woman.
Oh, Catherine Clark from Illinois. And then James Clyburn, the old head, the OG from South Carolina, he's the number 4 Democrat. So he's going to stay in the leadership kind of guidance. Pelosi's still going to be there, guiding hand kind of thing like that. But the new party leadership is these new young guns, basically. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
So, any word on Chris versus what's his face? Charlie Chris.
What about him?
He said he was challenging I can't remember his name. The guy we hate, the Republican guy.
Rick Scott? DeSantis?
I'm sorry, Rick Scott.
Oh, that's shitting, man. That shit's not gonna happen. Charlie Chris needs to go away. Rick Scott is up for re-election next year in 2024. He has to run again. But Charlie Chris he's fucking done. He gotta move on. He you've lost statewide 3 times in a row that you've ran. Like, the people are saying they don't want you, dude. Like, let's try to get somebody else in there. You know what I'm saying? And Chris's problem is that you have people who don't like him. Like my brother was one of those people. He was like, yo, I don't like Chris. I can't vote for this motherfucker, And we talked, and I'm like, look, dude, like, it's DeSantis or Chris. That's it. There's no third option. So, hold your nose, vote for the motherfucker. You know what I mean? But a lot of people aren't willing to do that. They're like, yo, I
Yeah,
remember this dude was the Republican governor of Florida, and I didn't like that motherfucker or his policies.
I know,
So
I know.
I'm not voting for him now, you know. And so Chris, he got to go away, man.
But that's how you end up with Trumps as presidents.
Yeah, I mean that's how we ended up with
Trump.
Marco Rubio.
Oh, okay.
Because Chris ran for Senate. He ran on the Republican ticket. Rubio beat him in the primary, and then he decided to run as an independent. And then you had a lot of people who thought that the Democratic candidate, Kendrick Meek, congressman from Miami, couldn't win. So they voted for Chris, myself included. Oh, and so, but Chris, the Republican stayed strong. He thought, oh, I would siphon off votes from Republicans, get a lot of these Democratic votes, and then I'll win. And it's not what happened.
So it's likely we'll see less, a lot less Nancy Pelosi in the news, right? Going forward.
Yeah, I would say a lot less, but I think she's still going to be around. Like she's kidding herself by saying like, you know, she's going to be a backbencher,
step away, yeah,
and things like, you know what I mean. But like when things are happening, they're going to want to know what does she think,
how to proceed, yeah,
right? Exactly. You know what I mean. And if the Democrats need to get like here's an example, right? So right now, Kevin McCarthy, from media reports, he doesn't have the votes right now to become Speaker of the House, right? Normally you would need 218 votes. In his case, he only needs 217 because a week ago, a Democratic congressman from Virginia actually died. So now, because they have less membership in the House, you only need one less vote because there's one less member. It's always based on the current membership, right? So Kevin McCarthy doesn't have the votes. So you have some Republicans who are saying they want to get somebody who's considered like a moderate Republican to run for Speaker. And then because the Republicans' majority is so thin, you only need about 6 or 7 Republicans to join with all the Democrats to vote for who the Speaker should be. And then they'll outnumber the Republicans, right?
Right.
Okay. Sounds easy. But Hakeem Jeffries is going to have to be the guy who talks to these Democrats and say, I need you to vote for this Republican for Speaker. Right. You know what I mean? And Hakeem Jeffries just became leader, right? These people don't owe him nothing.
He's black.
He didn't raise money for them to get reelected. You know, he didn't help them win their race. You know what I mean? So you're like, why do I got to throw my vote to you for the? I mean, I get you the leader, but you know,
right.
So you know, we'll see what happens. So,
gotcha.
And so in a situation like that, you're gonna have people who will say, if Pelosi was in charge, she'd have got them votes. She don't lose votes. You
right. So no more Pelosi trip D's around town no more. Oh, that's a sad day. You got to put old Yeller down, take him out behind the shed.
Oh, you're on a roll today. Nasty, man.
Yeah, man. All right. Week 13 fantasy football playoff implications this week.
Shit. Set my lineup.
It's only 11:30, Barry. You got an hour and a half.
Oh, okay. There's no overseas game, right?
No,
okay.
you'll be fine.
All right, I'm good.
But playoff implications in fantasy this week. I don't know if there's any really big games in the NFL this week. I'm sure there are.
Dolphins 49ers? Like, come on, duh.
No, I said big, like important stuff.
Exactly.
Y'all not even in the same conference. Like it's
like you know, you said this in the chat, and I get it, right? I've been watching football enough to understand that the Cowboys bring in a larger audience, right? You got people, the fans are going to watch. People who hate the Cowboys are going to hate watch. And then you got your general NFL fans, even if their team isn't playing, they just want to see another game on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I get that. But I think that with this Cowboys Colts game not being flexed out, I think the NFL is truly showing like it's about money. We don't give a shit if people see good football. You know, people are gonna tune in and watch the fucking Colts get destroyed, and this game is gonna be a snoozer by the time the third quarter starts. But we don't give a shit because as long as the eyeballs are here, that's all we care about, yo. Because this, I mean, look, I'm biased. I'm a Dolphins fan. Like, I put that out there. But regardless of me being biased as a Dolphins fan, you got two teams that are trying to go into the playoffs in the Dolphins and the 49ers. You got Mike McDaniel coming from the 49ers. So the whole coach, teacher versus student aspect between the coaches, right? You got two teams that have quarterbacks who start from them that the teams didn't want them last year, right? In Tua and Jimmy G. You know what I mean? You got these 49ers players who are on the Dolphins in Trent Sherfield, Mostert, Jeff Wilson heading back to San Francisco. Jeff Wilson said he was pissed that they traded for Christian McCaffrey. You got that storyline there. What's going to happen with their great defense going against our good offense and shit. You know what I mean? Just storyline after storyline after storyline that you could wrap this game up in. And they said, nah, fuck all that. Let's go Colts, Cowboys.
But you're also talking about moving a game from starting at 5:00 because it's in San Fran to a 2:00 kickoff. I'm sorry, to a let me see, 5:00. Yeah, so it would be 2:00, right?
No,
I'm sorry, from a 2:00 to a 5:00 kickoff in San Fran, right? Because San Fran is 3 hours. What time is your game?
Our game is at 4.
4. Okay, so normally it's a 1:00 kickoff in California, and you're talking about pushing it back to 5:00, 5:30 in the evening. So I think that could partially be some of the decision making there. I don't know. I could be wrong, but again, it's money, right? It's you said it. The Cowboys are a team that are going to be extremely difficult ever to flex out. Specifically because you love them, you hate them, or you love to hate them. The thing about the Cowboys is they're different from any other team in the sense of, even if you don't watch football, even if you don't watch sports, if you hate sports or you don't like him, and someone says you're a Cowboys fan, the person is going to respond and have a smart remark, right? Just because they're always talked about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's right or wrong, whether it should or shouldn't be, whether they're good or bad, that's all, to opinion. But the fact of it is the Cowboys bring money, they bring revenue.
Right.
And yeah, so your point is 100% valid.
So Steve, I don't disagree with anything that you're saying, right? The problem for me is that the NFL tries to sell us on, we just want people to see good football. That's why we put these certain games in prime time, right? And I'm fine with that when they set the schedule to start the season. But as the season progresses and we say, okay, this is who this team is, this is who that team is, and they're not what we thought they were going to be this year based on last year, their free agent signings, et cetera, right? Mm-hmm. And so now we get into a season this week, right? I got the schedule pulled up. Options for flex. You had Dolphins 49ers, we talked about a second ago. Titans Eagles, 2 playoff teams, right? Who else? You had Chiefs Bengals, 2 playoff teams, and kind of your whole young gun thing with Mahomes and Burrow. Burrow beat Mahomes last year to go to the Super Bowl and all that kind of thing like that. And they left this Cowboys Colts game on, which again is not going to be a game. The Cowboys are probably going to have this thing wrapped up by halftime. You know what I'm saying? And so you're gonna, and it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like the Colts are trash this year, and I get it. Any given Sunday, you never know, right? But based on everything that I've seen this season from the Colts and from the Cowboys, this game is not going to be that interesting to me. So
you could be right. You're probably right in that sense, but I mean, it's viewership. Mm-hmm. It's viewership.
And I wish the NFL would just say that. Look, we put the primetime games, we put the games in primetime that we think are going to get the most eyeballs for advertising money, instead of trying to be like, oh no, we just want people to see good football, and it's like, no, you don't.
It's clear. Thursday night games suck. Every year, Thursday night schedules are terrible. Once in a blue, we get a good one because 2 teams get hot, at the right time, or they look good. But for the most part, Thursday, when you have only one game on with nothing else, generally, from a sports standpoint, a lot of the NBA games or NBA schedule, it's like 1 or 2 games on Thursday when NBA is running, and the games are terrible. So it's it's about viewership. It's about who's gonna watch.
Right.
When you talk about Sunday night football, Monday night football, you're gonna put the teams that you think are gonna bring the most viewers, because sponsors are paying for it, right? Pepsi may
Right.
not pay for a Dolphin San Fran game. Is that realistic? No, because it's still the NFL. But is what it is, man.
I got you. I mean, I get you definitely right about that, because even like with this Dolphins 49ers game, CBS, I follow a reporter for the Miami Herald who covers the Dolphins for them. And every week, like on Friday, he tweets out like the map showing you like what games are gonna be on in your area or whatever, right? If he does it for the whole country. And for this Dolphins game, which again is a big game, you have two teams. One team is 7-4, the other team is 8-3. You know what I mean? And this game is gonna be on in South Florida. It's gonna be on in regions of California and parts of Nevada, and in Hawaii. They always put the Dolphins games on in Hawaii because since Tua's from there. And that's basically it. Like so it's amazing to me that and I think it's part of the reason why the Dolphins get like not that much love, because nobody sees them. So people are like, yeah, I mean, they 8-3, but I mean, and they don't get any much love on the sports shows from the talking heads, and they don't get seen on TV. So I think people might think like, yeah, I mean, they're 8-3, but I mean, are they really that good? Like, why are their games ain't on TV? Like,
Yeah, but they're not talked about because there's no value in it. There's no value in Stephen A coming on and talking about the Dolphins. There's no value in him coming on and saying, "Oh, Dolphins fans, look at me. I'm dressed up like a dolphin." Like, there's no value in that. The value is in him being able to attract a wild ass audience because he comes out in fucking cowboy spurs. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just that's what it is. It's unfortunate, but if ideally for the kind of coverage that you're looking for, it's sports talk radio.
yeah,
They talk about all this shit. When I listen to Sirius, they're talking about the wild ass shit. Like I heard someone yesterday do a whole segment as I'm driving home on Shaheen, your third wide receiver. You have Tyreek Hill, you have Jalen Waddle, you have Tua, you got a storyline in Jeff Wilson coming over from San Francisco, and who they talk about? Your third wide receiver. Like that's the wild shit. So,
yeah.
but yeah. So today there's some good games. To your point, I hope Tennessee can pull it out. There's some interesting ones though. So, the Jacksonville Detroit game, they both suck. Neither one of them are doing anything, but they're both 4-7. But I think we're going to see two teams that can be something here in the next year to two.
Yeah.
Not going to call them Super Bowl or anything like that, but they can be something. So I think that'll be an interesting game to watch, or at least see highlights from.
With Detroit, I hope that, how I feel like Detroit could be us, right? Like the Dolphins. And what I mean is like, we would have seasons where we sucked ass, but we were doing stuff like Detroit, where it's like, damn, even though we lost those games, we put up numbers. We, our defense was playing awesome. We just got to get one guy, or something like that. Instead of looking at the team more holistically and saying like, what's not working here, and I think Detroit could fuck around and fall into that thing where they go and say, man, we're scoring 27, 28 points a game. We're doing numbers. We're just not finishing, or we're not stopping guys. So let's go out and sign this one big guy that we're going to give all the money, and then everything's going to be all good now. And then you go from winning 4 or 5 games to only winning 2 games.
If I'm Detroit, they're one step away. They're one player away, and it's quarterback. Jared Goff is not that guy. He'll never be that guy. But they got a decent run game. They got some young wide receivers in Amon-Ra. Then they also have the rookie who hasn't even stepped on the field yet, Jameson Williams, who's projected to be amazing if he can come back off of that knee injury. so these guys should. I mean, Detroit should be a team, and they got a really good defense.
Yeah.
Not a great defense, but young, really good young guys, and with with some development, they'll be a good team.
Yeah,
So
they definitely
I
need a
think,
quarterback, man.
yeah, I
Do
think
you
next
think they
year,
should draft, or should they try to find somebody in free agency,
I don't.
like a Jimmy G or something like that?
And that's the thing. I don't know who's going to be there. Jimmy G is probably a pretty good fit for them if San Fran decides they're going to go back to Trey Lance next year. Um, shit. Looking at these other teams, if I'm them, if I'm Detroit, I'm hoping that Baltimore doesn't franchise tag Lamar, which they probably will, but I'm hoping that they won't, and I'm throwing everything at this guy. Like, you want ownership, you want a statue out front. Like, what do you want us to get somebody to come in and do your braids every Sunday? Like, whatever you want, we got that. Because that's the guy that'll take this franchise to a whole nother level. Think about Lamar Jackson with Baltimore right now with no wide receivers.
Yeah.
Young guys, Duvernay and stuff like that, but no real running game, some patchwork with guys that are injured with, J.K. Dobbins, and, you got Kenyon Drake over there and stuff like that. But if he was to go to a team where they have DeAndre Swift, they have Amon-Ra, they've got a decent defense that can hopefully get him some rest on the side. Jameson Williams, young kid. I mean, they just traded away Hawkinson, which is tough, but and he loves a tight end, Pauls. But that would be a great landing spot for him.
Yeah.
And he could easily with Chicago rebuilding. Sure, they have a quarterback now, but they're still going to be in a rebuild for a couple of years.
Right.
Minnesota's got Kirk Cousins, which don't get me wrong, they're 9-2, but we always talk about it. They're not a 9-2 team.
Mm-hmm.
And Green Bay is on their way out. I'm going to Detroit if I'm Lamar Jackson.
Right. That'll be a good landing spot for Matt. Like I said earlier, Jimmy G, Lamar. I don't see Lamar happening. I'm pretty sure Baltimore's going to franchise him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they could franchise him for the next 2 years if they wanted to. So I'm pretty sure that happens. I don't know what's happening in Green Bay, but it wouldn't surprise me if Green Bay lets Rodgers go and then he decides he wants one more year. That's a team that's kind of ready made for him, like you said, young wide receivers. They can actually catch, like.
and he's a dick. So Aaron Rodgers is absolutely the guy who would go to a division rival.
Right, and if your team, like, if you feel like your team is like ready made, it just, we plug a quarterback in here and we can win 10 games with this team, 10, 12 games, and Aaron Rodgers is available, I would go get him. But you got to see what happens there with the with Jordan Love situation, because it's not like Rodgers is not under contract anymore.
Jordan Love looked good last week against Philly, man. He came in cold off the bench, 2 really good drives, some really good passes. I think he missed a couple, but for the most part, when you're talking about a guy who, if I'm Green Bay, and here's the part, right, with Green Bay, we always talk about it. They're owned by their people, and and they're not. I don't know how partial they would be to having a brown quarterback. That would be like a first time ever type of thing for them. So,
and another team that might be a quarterback, not necessarily a quarterback away, but they definitely are a quarterback away from being better than they are. Is the Cardinals, man. Like, the more I watch Kyler Murray, he's not it, man. He is just not it. I don't know. It's not working.
He's a running quarterback.
Yeah.
He's a much faster RG3 to me. Even though RG3, I think, could probably make a couple better throws. But we've seen Kyler make some good throws. It's his decision making. Kyler Murray's decision making is not good. He's really small, which is, that's a problem too, right? We see small quarterbacks. We see guys like Drew Brees do it, and we think, well, who cares if they're small? Kyler can make plays, and his legs help him with that. But either he needs some development, he needs to spend his offseason with someone who can teach him how to read defenses, who can teach him how to, check out his stuff, or or they need to move on, or they just
Yeah.
need a new coach, right? Kingsbury came into a good situation, and they've been okay, but they should absolutely be, an 100% playoff team year after year with the talent that they have.
Yeah, and I mean, and this year, I think I might be being a little unfair to them only because you had Hop,
Suspension.
DeAndre Hopkins with the suspension. Hollywood Brown got hurt. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So they've had some trouble, but like to pay a dude that much money and have the results that you're having is like it's not, to me, it's not worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. You know who else I think needs a new coach? Is or I'm not a fan of their coach, or at least their offensive coordinator, is New Orleans.
Oh,
Um,
when you said offense
why?
coordinator, I thought you were gonna say the Patriots.
No, no. Yeah, yeah. Well, there's that. Why are they still using Taysom Hill? Like it worked with Drew Brees because you had a change of pace, complete different guy, and it worked here and there, but they're still using this guy in this wild ass offense where number one, nobody is checking for your throw, like for your passing game. Because you
Mhm.
have Andy Dalton as your other guy. So nobody's prepping, nobody's putting a bunch of safeties out there. Nobody, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
people are stacking the box. Let's stop Kamara. Let's make Andy Dalton make a throw,
yeah,
or Jameis, and Jameis hasn't played much, but they've decided they're gonna go with the Red Rocket, Red Rifle, whatever you call this guy. But why are you still using Taysom Hill? Like, why
yeah.
did they extend this guy? If you're not going to keep him in the pocket and make him a quarterback, you shouldn't have extended him. You shouldn't be doing this wild fucking circus play shit. It's stupid.
I mean, I definitely agree, man. It's like you know, you look at a Green Bay, for example, and they say, okay, Favre getting a little long in the tooth, we got to bring a guy in. And they had Aaron Rodgers on the shelf for 4 years, and now Aaron Rodgers, same thing, getting long in the tooth. Let's bring a guy in. You got Jordan Love on the shelf. What, it's been 2 years now, 3 years, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
3 years.
so, you know, it seems like New Orleans thought Drew Brees would play forever and had no plan for once he stepped away from football. And now you're seeing the result of like this ad hoc patchwork, throwing some shit at the wall, see what sticks, kind of quarterback play from them. And like, and to your point, it worked with Drew Brees or whatever. Now with your current quarterbacks, that shit is not working. And
Mhm.
and Taysom hit like I don't know when they have an out built into that contract, but they need to get out of that shit and move on.
Yep, no doubt. So yeah, if you were to tell me that Tampa Bay and Tom Brady were going to be 5-6, and they're still leading the division, like every coach in that division needs to be fired, all of them. Carolina's coach needs to be fired. New Orleans coach needs to be fired. And who's the third? Who's the third one? I'm forgetting. Carolina, New Orleans. Shit. Tampa Bay,
And Atlanta.
Atlanta. Oh, Atlanta coach definitely needs to be fired. When you got Mariota, that's actually playing good,
Mhm.
and you drafted a young quarterback. Like they all need to get rid of him.
Let me ask you a question about Tampa Bay and bring it kind of home to your team. What are your thoughts on teams with shit records having a home playoff game because they won their division, like the Bucks likely will be this year? The Bucks could end up winning 7 games and win the division and get a home playoff game, maybe versus you guys. Who knows?
It's probably who it's going to be.
What are your thoughts on that?
Um, I don't know. I mean, as a fan, it's tough because you think about home cooking is not as huge. We've heard players say that it makes a difference. We've heard analysts, we've heard all that shit, but as a fan, it's hard to to think about that, especially when you're thinking your team is gonna is good, right? They're good
Yeah.
on the road, they're good um but I'm also not like a huge fan of changing history when it comes to sports. Like it's always been this way, example, and I know it's not the same, it's not apples to apples, but a prime example for me is like the force outs in with wide receivers.
Mhm.
You know, when you talk about all the stats, the catches, the yards, and you got the force out rule that changed halfway through. You have you know, the replay, right? How many of these catches would have been called catches and overturned that would have been big yardage, big touchdowns, shit like that. Like
Yeah.
it's just, you know, anytime you change the game, now you're kind of changing history, and now you're comparing you know, you're going to compare current day to previous, and now we have these conversations about this person's not as good as so and so. Remember the hand check? You know what I'm saying? If they could hand check LeBron, he wouldn't be the scoring leader. Like
Mhm.
it's just the little shit like that. You know, if I think if you change that, then ideally it shouldn't be home. Then you just go the top 6 or 7 records. Period. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
I mean, the NBA did this, and I think it works well in the NBA, where it was they reseeded them instead of just, oh, you won your division, conference, or whatever, so you're the 4 seed now, versus
Mhm.
just this is the schedule, or not the schedule. This is the standings, and so this is how you're going to be seated or whatever, you know. And I don't think I don't have that big of a problem if they did it, you know. And I get your point about the home cooking and waking up in your own bed instead of a hotel and all that kind of thing like that, you know. But I think it's just crazy that, you know, you could end up having a team like the Cowboys who win 10, 11 games, and they have to go on the road in the
Travel.
playoffs to play against a team that won 7 games, that they're under 500, and they get a home playoff game. Like
Yeah.
I don't like that, man. I don't
And if
like. I feel like maybe not change the rule completely. Maybe adjust the rule to say, like, if you got a losing record as a division winner, you don't get a home playoff game. We're gonna reseed you. But if
you
all if,
earn it.
right, but and especially now, since we got the 17 games now, so teams can't go 8-8. So you're either gonna be above or under 500 every year, you know. And
Yeah.
so maybe say if you are a under 500 team that's a conference winner, you will go to the playoffs because you won, or not conference, division winner. You will go to the playoffs because you won your division, but you're going to be reseeded, you know.
No, I like that.
And because I just don't like that, man.
If anybody should be frustrated, it should be the Cowboys, because we lost to Seattle that year. They were 7-9 and went to the playoffs on the road.
You see,
And so yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Um there was, oh, that's what I wanted to look at. All right, so the other good game I think that's here, there's a couple more. Actually, this week's not horrible. Washington, New York Giants is a big game for just the division, because the NFC East has a potential of sending 3 teams to the playoffs this year. Just because the NFC is so bad. But one of these teams could potentially play a spoiler because of the, you know, within the division, if, you know, someone decides to get hot, New Orleans, Atlanta, or somebody, right?
hmm
um so I think that's an interesting game, that Washington Giants game. Tennessee Philly is a good game. Tennessee, we give a lot of shit to them, you know, but at 7-4, but they're pulling out games
yep,
that people don't expect them to pull out. And I think for them, it's coaching. I think they have a really good coach in Mike Vrabel. Vrabel, right?
yeah, Vrabel.
I like Vrabel a lot. I think he's a really good coach. He did well last year when Derrick Henry got hurt. He did well this year when Tannehill got hurt. That coaching staff just knows how to do it. Being a defensive guy, I think they're going to give Philly a problem today. I don't know that Tennessee wins the game, but I think it's going to be closer than people are expecting when you're looking at a 10-1 Philly team and a 7-4 Tennessee team. And also Philly, Dallas Goedert, like, you're seeing the effects of a good quarter or a good tight end with a quarterback who's not the greatest throwing outside the hashes, which
Mhm.
is, you know, kind of what Philly's got going on.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you, man. And like you watch these Philly games and you're like, are they gonna put a spy on Jalen Hurts? Do they have they
Bruh.
not seen the last 12 weeks? Do they, you know what I mean?
Bruh. On the
Like
5-yard line, and they're
right.
splitting out into quarter coverage, leaving the fucking, I don't
I'm
get it,
watching
man.
these Philly games. Like, did the Eagles not send the film like that they're
Right.
supposed to, or whoever sends it, the NFL, the Eagles, or like, did they not know this guy could run in the scouting report?
If I could stop the shit on Madden, you motherfuckers should be able to stop the shit.
Like, it's crazy to me the way that they. I don't want to necessarily say let him run, but I mean, this is shit that can be controlled, And I look at us when we played the Bears a couple weeks ago. In the first half, man, Justin, this dude was all over the place. 60-yard run, 70-yard run. Like, but you look at his stats from that day. Most of those runs came in the first half. They went in halftime, and what's funny is that before they went to halftime, the camera caught McDaniel talking to Josh Boyer, our defense coordinator, and he's like, "Dude, you got to get control of this shit." Like, you can read his lips saying that or whatever. And they went into halftime and made an adjustment, and he still got off some runs, but it wasn't no more 60, 70-yard runs. It was like, okay, he got 12, he got 8 that time. The shit that you can live with. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck, man?
No, you're right. You're right. It just makes, like, if I'm any team, you're gonna make this guy make a throw.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not losing to this guy inside the 10-yard line by letting him run untouched into the end zone up the middle of the field. Like, this is not, it's not happening. It's the same thing Washington did. Washington did the same thing. Yo, you're going to have to throw the ball if you're going to beat us.
Right.
And guess what? Washington beat him. Indy did the same thing until the fourth quarter. And then they let this guy run from the 5-yard line up the middle of the gut with no defender there, no safety, no middle linebacker, nobody there. This guy untouched into the end zone, and they lose that game by 1 point. Like, it just baffles me. Like, you guys are, what makes you think they're going to, like, you should be, as a coach, you have to look at, what people's tendencies are, right? And you have tendencies, and you know that they run. You know that they do QB runs. How are you not scheming for that? Like, you scheme for that and make this guy make a throw. Lose to A.J. Brown. I'm okay losing to A.J. Brown, catching a touchdown and in a man matchup after a good throw versus losing to, a run from Jalen Hurts. Like,
nah, absolutely right, man. We say it in the NBA all the time. If I'm playing the Warriors, if Jordan Poole's gonna go off, I have to live with that. You know what I mean? But I can't have Steph Curry shooting threes all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like, how the hell aren't you defending this run against Jalen Hurts, man? It's like I said a moment ago. It's almost like these teams didn't get the scouting report. It's like they showed up and was like, "Hey, that guy can run."
Right. Yeah. Oh, he got legs.
Check that out.
Yeah. The Rams are they're basically shut down. They put Matt Stafford on IR. I don't think they're going to bring Cooper Kupp back for the rest of the season. They're 3-8. They're probably done. So Seattle should get an easy walk there this week. Kansas City, Cincinnati is another one that you mentioned. And I think that's going to be a really good matchup. I think it's going to be, a repeat of last year, to your point. Huge game. But you also have Kansas City, who's, we got Mahomes, right? Mahomes is Mahomes, but they don't have a lot of firepower. And Cincinnati this week is getting Jamar Chase back. So I think it could be a long day for Kansas City. What do you guys think? I'll start with EJ, who just rejoined us
on mobile.
Yeah, I can't hear y'all too well. I don't know if y'all can hear me. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, your mobile looks better than your computer.
It looks very clear.
I mean, I still think Kansas City is going to take care of business. I think it's going to be a high scoring potential game. But I still think Kansas City is going to take care of business. That team's on a roll.
Yeah, I can see Kansas City taking care of business too. I think, a lot of people talked about, what was going to happen to them losing Tyreek. And I think losing Tyreek has actually shown us a better version of Mahomes, because now it's not just Tyreek. Okay, Kelsey, Tyreek. He's spreading it around everywhere, and you're like, damn, this dude is a really good fucking quarterback, or what, So I think they take care of business, which in the long run, from my own bias, is good for us, because depending on what happens with us, where we're seated at, we basically would have, Buffalo and KC who are on our ass or whatever. So a Cincinnati loss would be beneficial to us.
We're learning that Travis Kelce is matchup proof. Last week, Jalen Ramsey was traveling with him, and Jalen Ramsey did a good job. Don't get me wrong; there was some good defensive plays there where I was like, "Damn, Ramsey's pretty damn good," but Travis Kelce still went off. He's got it done. And I think as long as you have those guys, Mahomes and Kelce, there's always a chance. But this game is in Cincinnati, and I feel like, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, we talked about it last year. They don't know what they don't know. Now they do know a little bit more, but they're still two young kids that are just out there, and they're the type, I feel like they still have the little bit of mentality of they can turn it off and turn it on. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like this is going to be a game where they're going to come out there, welcome back to my receiver, and Joe Burrow's going to try and turn it on, if you will. And if I'm going dark horse this week on any game, I think that's my game right there, and I think Cincinnati pulls it out.
Yeah.
And then Miami San Fran, that is going to be, I think that's going to be a good game. The Jeff Wilson factor is there. San Fran's defense, people are like, oh, they're so great, they're so good. But I guess, when you don't have one, you think it's good, but we have one. So to me, they're just, they're okay. Jimmy G, I'm still not sold on him. Like, to me personally, I think he's good. He's probably better than what Trey Lance would have been from what we saw early in the year, but and they're rallying around him. But I don't know that San Fran, I'm not sold on these guys. And maybe it's because they beat the shit out of the Cowboys and kicked us out of the playoffs last year. But that could be it. I think Miami pulls this game out.
Go ahead, EJ. Miami 49ers.
I think this is going to be a good test for Tua. I also think this will possibly be a potential shootout game. Where's the game at?
San Fran.
It's in San Fran?
Yep.
Yes?
Yes, San Fran.
Okay. I think Tua has struggled historically, but I can't remember specifically. I think he's going to have a decent game, but I think it'll be close. It'll be a sloppy game to some degree, but high scoring game. I'm going to go. I want to say go with San Fran, but I think Miami can win this.
So I think that we can win this game too. San Fran's defense does worry me. And part of the reason why it worries me is because last week our left tackle Teron Armstead got injured, and this dude is, I know that he was good, but I didn't realize how good he was on our line until he went out the game last week. And last week, I don't know if you watched the game, but I know you remember me putting in the chat like, yo, we got to get Tua out of this game because Teron Armstead gets hurt and Tua gets sacked 5 times after he goes out, all from the left side, which is where Teron Armstead plays. And it was like an immediate impact. You know what I mean? And so, Teron Armstead is likely not going to play today because he has a pec strain. And, we get the ball out quick. So maybe we have to just get it out even faster now. We'll see. But I think we still can end up winning this game. But, we're gonna have to make sure we're not being sloppy on offense. And I think our defense can handle their offense. Our defense essentially practices against their offense essentially every day, every week. So and I guess you can say the same thing for their defense against our offense. The only difference is that they don't go against that kind of speed in their practices. I would assume they don't have a guy that's as fast as a Waddle or
VP. Did you guys get your cornerbacks healthy yet?
No. We still are running on your mass unit at the DB position. Our only starter who was a starter when the season started is Xavier Howard, and he's playing with one busted groin, but he's been thugging it out week to week. and everything else is just kind of plug and play at this point. Waiting on Byron
Yeah, I think
Jones to come back.
that'll be kind of a difference maker because I think Debo is questionable. I don't think either defense has a good game. I don't know who they got up front, but I think if anything, that'll be the difference maker that they're going to get to you a little bit more often. But I don't think either defense is going to have a great game.
Yeah, and Byron Jones, man, he's just getting on my goddamn nerves, yo. Because I feel like he. I mean, I think he's doing business at this point. Basically, he's saying, look, these guys are going to get rid of me. They got all these other cornerbacks they brought in, guys who are on rookie deals and things like that. So why pay me all this money? So he's going to wait and play maybe 4 good games and then use that film to move on to the next team when we cut him in the offseason, very likely. Because I can't imagine that he's still not healed from his surgery that he had in the offseason. We're in week 13 now?
What was it? What was it that he? What was it?
It was
that
an
he had
Achilles
surgery?
surgery.
That's different.
No, but the thing is, Steve, is that he was expected to be back to start the season. He was only supposed to miss camp.
Gotcha.
We're in week 13 of the season.
Yeah, but you're talking about, that's, he's got to jump, he's got to run, he's got to cut. There's, we're talking about Achilles here.
I mean, I want
some guys don't make it back.
Right. I want him to be healthy, but I'm just like, it seems amazing to me that he's gonna miss like more than a year,
And you could be right. He could be doing business because Achilles is one of the things that has a high re-injury risk. You know what I mean? And you think about it. So much so that the Achilles injury had EJ thinking that KD wasn't going to be KD anymore. And we questioned it a bit, right? Because it's a huge injury. So I think he is doing business. I don't think it's as much as what you think, but yeah, I think you're right a little bit there. For me, I think like I said, man, this is going to be an interesting game. I don't know if Debo's playing. They said that he plans to, but he's still nursing an injury. McCaffrey should be playing. He's off of the injury report with a knee injury. But I think the key for you guys is you have to protect Tua because that defense, as good as people are saying it is, Tua can't keep taking hits, man.
Mm-mm.
He can't. Like, he's fragile. he's not a tough guy, man. So they got to protect him. So I think it'll be a good game. I really feel like Miami can win this game. The problem I have with Miami though is there's so much inconsistency, like with Tyreek, for example. Tyreek Hill, you knew last year when he played with Mahomes, year before, every game he's gonna get a 50-yard pass. Whether it's a touchdown or not, it's gonna happen. This year you're not seeing it from Tua. Can he do it? Yeah, we've seen him do it multiple times. But there's so much inconsistency where sometimes it's Waddle, and it's the crossers and stuff like that. And sometimes as a coach, as an offensive coordinator, I know it's working because they're 8-3, but sometimes you got to stick to the script. And with a team like this, with San Fran, you got to keep them honest, or else they're gonna be in trouble. And so hopefully they use Tyreek, and they do well there. And this way, San Fran's defense can't pin their ears back and get after Tua. That's how Miami wins this game.
I don't disagree with you. The only thing that I would say is I think what's happening with Tua is that they, I keep hearing the people who are like talking heads. They say, man, Tua, like this dude reads the field really well, et cetera, right? And so I think what's happening is Tua saying, okay, they're gonna key on Tyreek, they're gonna take him away, so I'm not gonna force it. I'm not gonna throw it to Tyreek with 3 guys on him. And so, as an example, you look at that Chicago game, right? And they're double teaming Tyreek. And who got the touchdowns that day? Trent Sherfield, River Craycraft, because I'm pretty sure when they was on the scouting report, they weren't like, yo, we got to make sure we're watching out for River Craycraft. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah,
like most people don't even know who the fuck that guy is.
Yeah, you're right.
So he catches a touchdown. They're like, who the fuck was that?
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what's happening is that they're saying, okay, kind of like we talked about with the Steph Curry example, or how we talk about, LeBron ain't gonna beat me. You guys want to win this game. This motherfucker gonna have to score over here. This dude you don't expect. And I think Tua's like, okay, cool, no problem. I'll throw it to Trent Sherfield. I mean, if you're a fantasy owner of Tyreek, or you got him in a fan duel or something like that. I know you be doing the Tyreek Tua combination sometimes. You probably like, yo, why the fuck is he throwing the River Craycraft? You know,
Right? Yeah,
But-
you got Tyreek Hill wide open, and you're not even the asshole. The Jets in Minnesota. We get to find out if White is really going to be the next guy, right? Because I feel like, and that could be an answer to your question too, VP, that you asked
Mhm.
earlier. If it turns out that White's the guy, maybe Wilson ends up in Detroit. You know what I mean?
It could be, man, and it seems like I don't know if you saw the thing I posted in the chat with the team all wearing the white shirts or whatever, you know, and so it seems like the team has brought into Mike White, you know.
Mhm.
I don't know, you know, I don't want to say Zach Wilson can't come back from this, you know what I mean? But if he loses the locker room, man, I don't see how the Jets can move forward with him. If the players aren't fuck, it almost reminds me. You remember on Any Given Sunday when the Jamie Foxx character kind of loses the locker room, they start letting them get sacked, and I mean, I don't
Willie
think these
Beeman.
guys would, yeah, like I don't think they would do this kind of shit in the pros or whatever, but you know, like
You'd be
you can't,
surprised.
right? You can't have this kind of dysfunction between, you know, your quarterback and your the rest of your team.
Why is it the Jets always have that? We saw Geno Smith get punched in the face. We got the Zach Wilson thing here now. And this again, we talked about this last week. I don't know. Again, I don't think it should have played out the way it did. The coaching staff is at fault for some of it. He's a young kid. He doesn't understand, what he should and shouldn't say. But you can't tell me I'm the guy that's starting and then expect me to be like, oh, I fucked up, bench me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's be realistic here. And it's privilege, right? It's privilege. You would probably never get that from a Lamar Jackson or from a black quarterback. You would never get that from a black quarterback because in order to be a black quarterback, you got so many hurdles to jump, let alone a black quarterback in the NFL. Privilege. That's what it is. So he's like, I'm good, man. It wasn't me. Wasn't me. Wasn't me. I don't play special teams. I ain't give up that touchdown. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what he's thinking. But I think if White can get it done today, which I feel like Kirk Cousins is not a good quarterback, but every time I say that Kirk Cousins in Minnesota is going to lose, they come out and they make me look stupid. They score 40 fucking touchdowns and they blow out the other team. But I do think the Jets can get it done. They have a much better defense. The question is going to be, are they going to be able to score? And so to that, you guys feel how?
Go ahead, EJ.
Trying to look at this objectively. But when you look at the quarterback situation with Zach Wilson, I mean, I think the Jets made a mistake in thinking that he was more ready than he was mentally, which physically he definitely has the tools. But people forget, they brought in his college quarterbacks coach, basically the person he's been listening to forever. The dude gets killed riding a bike, in the most random way, right? And then you got Mike LaFleur, who I think, and I've been saying all the time, should not be the offensive coordinator of this team. You got a rookie head coach. You got Jeff Ulbrich, who's a DC, who I don't really know has a lot of experience calling defensive plays, but that's where Saleh comes in, right? But you got a rookie offensive coordinator who's dealing with a rookie quarterback. So where that growth and maturity would usually come from a veteran guy, you're not getting it. And I think you can obviously easily say the organization fails Zach Wilson in that regard, but I don't think his career is over. He might just need to sit. Mike White is a guy who's been around the league. He's an older guy in life, and he just gets the game, and it comes to him a little easier. So I think this game it's gonna be a crazy one because, to your point, Steve, if they can score, it's gonna be a more entertaining game. They'll keep in it. Jets defense has a tendency to start off slow, and this is not a team offensively that you want to start off slow against. So I expect it to be somebody getting, a high scoring game. Whether the Vikings blow them out, I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised if they beat them, if the Vikings beat them, and pretty handily. But it's gonna be dependent on Mike White and the type of offense that they come out.
Nah, I think EJ is right, man. And to Nick Wright's point on First Take, the Vikings' two best players are Justin Jefferson's left hand and his right hand. So you defend him well, and if Mike White can just show up on offense, they can win this game because the Vikings, their offense is not that good. They're not necessarily killing everybody they play. They're kind of getting by. Like me and Steve say every week, they don't look like their record. Same with the Eagles. They don't look like their record. And so this team can be beat, and I think the Jets can beat them. I hope that they beat them. I mean, I feel like sometimes I have more faith in the Jets than EJ do, even though I can't fucking stand them. But but yeah, I think they can get this game, man. They should be able to get this game.
Got you. I think from a football standpoint,
As Lee Corson would say.
Chargers in Vegas, Cowboys in Indy, New Orleans and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay better win that game, dog. Let me tell you that. If they don't win that game, whoo, I tell you. What else? Anything else? Anything else from a football standpoint?
Still in the block from a football standpoint, not NFL related, but college. Deion making his way to Colorado.
Oh yeah. That I felt two ways about the Deion situation, right? In one way, like I'm happy for him. You know what I mean? You start off this is how a lot of coaches do. They start off at a smaller school, they have some success, and then a bigger school calls to say, "Hey, we like what you're doing down there. We want to, bring you up to the big league, so to speak." You know what I mean? And you kind of do that and go to that next level, and on and on and on, right? And then maybe you go from college to NFL, etc. The problem where I feel the other way with the Deion move is that Deion goes to an HBCU and he's hyping up HBCUs, and he's getting these young black athletes to say, nah, man, don't go to Alabama, don't go to Georgia, don't go to USC, come to Jackson State. We can build something with we can make these HBCUs relevant again. You know what I mean? And you have some of these kids who says, you know what? I could shine at Alabama, LSU, etc., but I want to do something different to make things different for our people and that kind of thing like that. And people went to Jackson State, and then Deion's like, all right, got a bigger payday amount, dude. So, that part of it, that's what I didn't like about it.
That's precisely it for me. I'm in both realms, right? Because everybody's like, well, who's going to turn down a pay cut? I mean, who's going to turn down a pay increase for a pay decrease and all of this? And yeah. I mean, sure, there have been many people that have stayed in places. I mean, Steve just talked to me, last week or a week before about, not taking the pay increase because of culture of potential place or other things, right? And then, like you said, VP, the implications, like, first of all, you got these kids that have foregone going to big places. And then, Deion, you use the culture of HBCUs largely for your success. Now, granted, he's prime and he had clout and attention, but no other universities was giving him an opportunity. You went to this HBCU, they gave you carte blanche to do whatever, which most HBCUs don't do when it comes to athletics. And you got the culture, you got the people behind you, and you used them. So you really are no different than any other coach or any other entity that comes to the black community to get support and get propelled, and then you left. And I get it, you know what I'm saying? It's cool. Eddie Robinson was kind of being a jerk in the moment he said it, but he's right. Ultimately, you're not SWAC. You didn't come there for the real benefit of the SWAC, and that's what you ran your premise on. And it's a little disingenuous. It's par for the course, but hey, if anything, I think he kind of set him back because now people are looking. Now these recruits are looking like, well, he wouldn't even stay there, so why would I go? And then Jackson State, while they might have had their most lucrative year, that was going to be predicated off of how much they could keep it going. Without Deion, who knows?
Right. And I think real quick, Steve, on the page, I think I read that at Jackson State he was making like 400 something thousand a year, and Colorado was offering him $5 million a year. And so, I mean, we're talking about a significant pay increase. But to all of that EJ just said as well,
The difference here for me though is like Deion's not just a guy who's going from 400,000 to 5 million. Like Deion's got money, lots of money. You know what I'm saying? So you're talking about, I'm here for the culture. I'm trying to set, HBCUs up. Come here. He basically is the Suge Knight of college football. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't want your coaches all up in your videos. Y'all don't want just coaching and your scouting interviews. Come over here to Jackson State. You know what I'm saying? Like that's basically what he did. And then he did to Colorado. Now, obviously, in NCAA, it's a little bit different because you can do transfers and shit like that. So there's still potential there for, for some of these guys to still align with him if that's what they really want to do, or to transfer a different school and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it's tough, but I also like, me, I like to play both. Sometimes I'll play both sides of the fence, and I want to be, I want to be as objective as possible. Somebody like EJ is okay to be frustrated because he's an avid supporter of HBCUs. You know what I'm saying? Like he's always on the front line, always talking about it, always bigging it up and what's the best for him. But the other motherfuckers, like these Jamel Hills and stuff like that, and I'm not saying her, she just happened to come to my mind because I don't like her. But these, to what VP always calls them, is talking heads. You got all this opinion about what he did or didn't do and how he set back HBCUs and what he did and didn't do with that. Where's your support for HBCUs otherwise? I don't hear you talking about them ever.
Didn't even attend them.
Or didn't attend them.
And those are the same people, like you always hear them, like, she's from Detroit, obviously, and there's no HBCUs out that way, so I get it. But, there are tons of people that sacrificed not having the tuition to go across the country to go to HBCU just for that reason. You know what I'm saying? And there's so many people that's commenting on today, like you said, Steve, that have no real investment in it. You didn't go to one. You didn't play for one. You don't know what it's like. You know what I mean?
Yep. So that's the only thing for me. I think it's a two-sided story. It's two-sided coin. Deion did some fuck shit, but I get it. Like he probably has aspirations, and just call it that. Just say, yo, I have my plan is to get to the NFL as a coach. And I'm not going to get there straight from Jackson. I mean, I'll go Jackson, I'll go to Colorado, and then I'll see where that takes me. Like, if that's what you're going to do, just say that's what you're going to do. You know what I'm saying? There's no harm in that. There's no foul in that. You can still support, HBCUs. You can still support whomever, just not from a coaching standpoint or college football standpoint, because you're going to be associated elsewhere.
Right. And that's my whole thing of it. Like I said, I get it. Coaches do it all the time. They go from one small program to a bigger program to the NFL, whatever. We see it all the time. So, I mean, white coaches do it, so why can't black coaches do it? But at the same time, you weren't just a regular coach. You came in and you were all, HBCU, rah, 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 and people were like, yeah, let's do this shit, like for the culture kind of thing. And then now the payday came, you're like, all right, I'm out.
Yeah.
So,
hey, y'all got this, right?
Good luck with the culture.
Yeah, and that's the main thing. Like, and people are selectively black, right? Because like I've seen a lot of people that haven't attended HBCUs, like a lot of people that have, and they're just, we as a people, we always just about like get the money, but it's that same mindset why we don't ever see people giving back, because they're always worried about just going above and just climbing the ladder and just doing their thing, right? And it's that same mentality. Like Deion, he could have stayed in the booth and kept the money. So it's not about the money. It's about him wanting to elevate himself, and that's cool. You see the North Dakota states, the other programs that were small, and they made their way up, right? So why couldn't you do it for another 3 years to ensure that this university and this conference would be fine when you left it? You went there for 1 year, you used the culture, and you left. So what's the real difference between you and any other person that comes into the black community, black culture, uses it, gets what it needs, and leaves?
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Nah, you're absolutely right, man.
And quite quietly, someone might say he didn't only use it for his gain. He could have used it for his son's gain. You know what I'm saying? He goes in there, his son comes and plays for him. Was his son going to be as good? Maybe. He might have been. He might have been as good there or somewhere else or with another coach. But now you got spotlight. You got Deion Sanders as the head coach. There's spotlight on this team. You're going to be able to see my son at quarterback playing great. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I don't know, man. There's a lot there, but I don't know. We'll have to watch and see how it plays out. But again, man, we've said it on multiple occasions. I said it, you said it. You know what's best for your career. Like I love my job today, but if somebody came along, I was like, yo, you know what I'm saying? We gonna pay you. What is that? 10x? That's 10x plus what he makes today. Granted, he's already got the money, but it's 10x plus, and it's a potential. It's a resume builder.
Right.
And I look at that position though, especially when it comes to a small school. I look at more like as a politician's role, in the sense like that. You can move on and make more bread, but it's like the impact that you have on the lives of those young men, that community, that school, that conference is bigger than just the money. And that's the ticket he ran on. Granted, from the beginning, he always said, if a school comes knocking, I'm gonna entertain it. And maybe, those of us that feel, because I'm in the middle to some degree, but those of us that feel on the side of betrayal, maybe, we were fools for thinking otherwise.
Nah, I mean you making good points, EJ, and to like Steve, makes a point about the 10x, and I mean who the fuck wouldn't go for 10x, right? But it's not like Deion was some high school coach or something like that. Like this dude had a career, made a bag already. You know what I mean? So it's not like he from outside looking in. Yeah, I don't know what his finances are, but it seems like he didn't need the money. And so this almost seemed like the perfect guy you would come in to say, let's bring somebody like that in to try to build these HBCUs up. A coach that we don't necessarily got to worry about leaving because he already made all the money. So it's not like he needs to go to a bigger program for more bread because he's good already, and it seems like that's not the case, and
yeah. And like we said earlier, again, he could have stayed in the booth and made bread. And again, we as a people, we become so capitalistic and so non-communal. So it's like, at the end of the day, just get your bread. And who are we to say, nah, don't get your bread? But, if that's the case, then don't sell us on the other piece about caring about these young men and their character and the future HBCU. You were lying. You were lying.
Right.
That's what it is. You were lying.
Right. And so, like, if you're gonna come, just go like, yo, I'm here to make this the best football team that I can. We're trying to go 1-0 this week. All that coach speak, and just leave it at that. And then when if you do it and the bigger deal comes and you bounce, cool. But to come in and sell it on this, hope and rebuilding and returning HBCUs to their glory and all that kind of thing like that, you can't run on that kind of shit and then disappear.
Yeah, you're right. All right, man. We're at about 2.5, just about. I don't think we've missed anything. I'm sure there is other stuff that we could be talking about, but
Yo, can I ask a question real quick? It's not gonna take us into a long thing. Is EJ auditioning for the Weeknd's next Super Bowl video or something? I feel like he's walking through a maze or some shit, right?
He just disappeared. See what you did? He's like he looked like he was in like an old diner in the middle of like Ohio.
Everywhere he went, I feel like it was the background was the same. Like I would see him go through a door and he's in the same spot.
Like, this motherfucker's in the strip club before they turn the lights off. Mirrors everywhere. There you go. he's in the strip club.
So what happened is, because I was gonna cut off until I heard VP asking. So what happened is, my oldest is in Girl Scouts. I didn't sign her up for this, of course, but it's my responsibility today to bring her because she's with me, and basically went all the way to the other side of town, and I'm at this old diner that's been in Baltimore history forever. So that's where you see all of the windows.
Oh,
but
Steve did say diner.
My issue, you sign them up for Girl Scouts. She's literally the only little girl here, and I don't understand what's going on. And it's a Sunday, so this is the shit I'm talking about. It's just this shit has to stop. It has to stop. It has to stop.
Damn.
So with that, I'm getting out of here. Y'all pray.
All right, man. Hey, y'all drive safe, man.
All right. All right. Well, I think that's good. Let me hand it off to you, VP, to get us up out of here.
All right. Hey, we definitely appreciate everybody for rocking with us today on this episode of the Castworthy Podcast. For those who joined live, we definitely appreciate you taking some time out of your Sunday morning to rock with us. And we hope that you'll join us live again. For those who will listen once the episode posts, we definitely appreciate you taking the time as well. For the folks who commented in the comments, we definitely appreciate you as well for taking some time to drop a comment, including those who who we had to block. Wow, man. I guess we're making it now. We're starting to get the bots. So, but anyway, yeah, man, we definitely appreciate you guys for rocking with us. You can find our podcast on any podcasting platform. Just search Castworthy. And you can also follow us on any of our social media by searching Castworthy. On Instagram, however, it is at Castworthy_podcast. While you're there, if you could leave us a like, comment, subscribe, share, follow, tell a friend to tell a friend. Help us grow the audience. We definitely would appreciate that as well. And like we've been saying for months now, make that phone call, send that text message, reach out to somebody, let them know that they're on your heart. You thinking about them, forgive them. Tomorrow ain't promising nobody, man. You never know what could happen to anybody. So don't live on that grudge. Let that shit go. So, but with that being said, man, again, we definitely appreciate you guys and hope that you enjoy the rest of your weekend. And we will see you guys next week with another episode of the Castworthy Podcast. We're out. We love you. Peace.